LORRAINE Spencer here. This is the P.O.C, Pattern of Conduct, real-time documentation of the state of California's criminal pattern of conduct of federal stalking in concert with the people of the state of California in violation of existing federal law, that is 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, subsection 1 and subsection 2. This is ongoing documentation that is specifically gathered following my release from kidnapping by this entity that was ceaselessly monitoring in violation of 18 U.S.C. and in violation of Title 15 and in violation of the Prison Rape Elimination Act, as I was subject to the same exact criminal pattern of conduct while kidnapped by this entity seeking to conceal this criminal system that I am documenting and publishing and exposing on the venue of the internet, where I am also subject to the criminal pattern of conduct, and understand that kidnapping is the pattern of conduct that is criminal obstruction of justice, as the entity seeks to avoid prosecution and to avoid documentation and exposure for engaging in this criminal system. The people of the state are the vicarious aspect of the entity. They are engaging in federal stalking as I am kidnapped by the state inside of the state facilities, all right? And they are fully engaging in kidnapping upon criminal summoning. So this is the this is the entity from beginning to the end engaging in the criminal acts of the federal stalking and the acts of criminal obstruction of justice. This is also documentation on the venue of the internet engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct via obstruction of justice, and this is in any way reducing or removing the ability to publish the ongoing documentation of the state's criminal pattern of conduct, which is waging an ongoing threat to my life as I remain subject to this criminal system. And this is the criminal pattern of conduct on the venue of the internet, okay? And that is the totality of what I have documented since release. I was kidnapped from June 18, 2021 from third-party facilitating venue of the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, where the Ontario Police Department were monitoring, and this in conformity to the ongoing wealth of documentation that I have already published, specifically revealing the Ontario Police Department engaging in monitoring and kidnapping, which was via the assertion of a fictitious warrant pursuant to a fictitious prosecution. That is the people of the state of California v. LORRAINE Spencer, case number Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. I was subject to kidnapping pursuant to this fictitious prosecution, documentation on the facility cameras everywhere that I was inside of the facility of West Valley, located at 9700 Etiwana Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, California, and at the state facilitating venue of the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court, located at 8303 Haven Avenue in the city of Rancho Cucamonga, and I was subject to federal stalking ceaselessly at the jail, at the courthouse, in the courtrooms, okay? The same exact pattern of conduct ceaselessly underway. The kidnapping serves obstruction of justice, and that this is kidnapping that I endured from June 18th, 2021 up until August 16th, 2021. This is the P.O.C. 2:05 a.m. This is another plane capturing the video of the state's patrolling by plane, and I just want to document this one on my podcast. This is another one over the museum, and the Ontario Police remain present. Officer J. Burnett walking away in front of me is not the absence of the Ontario Police. They're always engaging in federal stalking, visibly, conspicuously, and inconspicuously. And the state is now sounding plane activity repeatedly. So this is ongoing evidence against them engaging in stalking. And that's a communication of a terrorizing threat as Officer J. Burnett comes and is monitoring, engaging in monitoring while he is patrolling, having zero form, wearing the Ontario Police Department uniform. That's 2:06 a.m. That's ongoing plane activity, P.O.C, at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. 2:10 a.m. is another plane. Flying right over the museum where I'm at. 2:10 a.m. All right, I did capture a video to the audio. The state is patrolling an aircraft, just like you heard, while Burnett was what he was engaging in with his partner named Officer. He didn't want to tell me the officer's name. Engaging in patrolling, that is walking around me in relevant position in the state's directed light that I just showed you. You could see it on the building of the face of the museum right now. That's directed light. And you're also looking at what is the use of the flashlight is light activity while they are patrolling in relevant position. All right. And then you are listening to, in the video, you're hearing the state stalking in planes. And I just recorded on my podcast, and I also just recorded another video right now so you can see what the state is doing. Concentrating plane activity right over me, where the state places its fake sun in the morning. Over me at the side of the museum where I'm at. This is where the state is concentrating its plane activity right now while it's stalking in relevant position. And the Ontario Police Department remains stalking right now. Okay, just because they walked away does not mean they're outside of relevant positioning. They're engaged in ceaseless stalking in relevant position. All right, conspicuously and inconspicuously. This is called conspicuous stalking, the communication, the intent to terrorize by doing so, arriving and engaging in their form, which doesn't exist. All right, this is how the entity engages in monitoring. And this is going toward the prosecution of specifically the Ontario Police Department and those whom I happen to have documented, which includes Officer J. Burnett, number 19993. And this officer engaged in criminal obstruction of justice. This is kidnapping on May 4, 2019, after he physically attacked me. That's what these officers have issues with. They have issues with physically attacking me. I'm dealing with demons, all right, that are engaged in federal stalking, and they have literally been engaged in, and these are male officers as well, engaging in physically attacking me and then lying. And guess what the charge was? The same one, obstruction of arrest. After he had no right to arrest me in the first place, he broke into my vehicle. I was no longer in Tracy Banks's apartment where he was recording the argument that occurred before she criminally summoned the police. And by the way, he's monitoring. He already knew I was sitting in my car 10, 15 minutes after she called, after she had left the apartment. All right, I'm sitting under the fake sun in my vehicle at 714 North Vine Avenue. Fake sun is directly over my vehicle. I'm in my car. All the windows are covered up. He has no physical, obvious indication or knowledge that I'm inside of my car. All right. Tracy Banks telling him, and again, this is a third party, all right, that I'm in my vehicle is not provision of his knowledge that I'm actually physically in the vehicle. In addition, there is no ongoing emergency providing him any legal right to break into my vehicle. All right. Secondly, he supposedly does not know what I look like. All right. But understand, the entity is monitoring. He knows exactly who I am. He knows what I look like, and he knows I'm in my car that is covered up, all right, while I'm under the fake sun, while the state is stalking by plane and helicopter day in and day out, just like I've already documented, as my car remained there before the same police department stole it in October of 2019, all right? All right, so you have what is Officer J. Burnett, who arrives, and I am writing in my journal about the incident in my car, and speaking to what was monitoring that Tracy Banks was engaging in, and this precipitated into an argument, and then engaging in the use of physical force and my use of self-defense. All right, it was not a battery. I didn't physically attack her, but I did attack her in response to her touching me. So she has an issue with that, putting her hands on me, and I do not hesitate to defend myself. So she's engaged in battery. I am engaging in defending myself, and I've already documented her acts of battery. I don't have to make it up. She has an issue with physically attacking me, and I started documenting it. Okay, I'm dealing with a demon as well. Understand that. And so she is engaging in federal stalking. She's engaging in criminal summoning. She calls the police. Understand, the police are already in relevant position stalking. This is exactly what the Ontario Police Department did on June 18th. They're engaging in what is the outward form of summoning the police, and again, having no reason to, because me holding up my phone and using it at 7 o'clock in the morning, and me even sleeping on the grounds of the Ontario Museum is actually still no concern of the city of Ontario. They're monitoring. All right, and this is criminal summoning. At the end of the day, there's criminal summoning. The police lack any warrant, lack any probable cause, lack any reasonable suspicion. They are stalking. They're monitoring. They know exactly where you are. They know exactly what you're doing. They know exactly where you are doing it. Okay, they're stalkers. All right. In addition to the ongoing environment that is maintained, that was federal stalking. All right. So you have kidnapping on May 4, 2019. Officer J. Burnett breaks into my vehicle. All right, he literally just walks up, opens the car door, that was still unlocked while I'm just sitting in there writing. And I am shocked. Like, I'm shocked at this officer, because I know my rights. I'm like, why did you just open up my car door? What is wrong with you? Who told you that you can do that? And he refuses to answer the question. And I want to document right now. 2:17 a.m., the state is stalking via aircraft, flying over in a blinking plane. That's not audible, all right? Understand, my speaking, my documentation right now is audible activity that they're monitoring me to. And directed light is surrounding, just like you saw in the museum building that I showed you in the video, and that remains. I have multiple shadows while I'm underneath this shaded area of the museum. And this, as I've also documented, the state is always aiming light in multiple directions. That's directed light. I remain molested at all times. Okay, so the state is stalking by plane, flying over in a blinking plane over the same museum grounds in relevant position. All right, just wanted to document that. So you have this officer, Jay Burnett, who breaks into my vehicle, having no right to do so, does not answer my question upon my demand as to why he opened my car door, what gives him the right to do so. And upon my repeating this question, he does not answer, and he commences to physically attacking me. And what is his claim? He claims that he felt endangered by me after he broke into my car. And then he called himself arresting me. And that was not an arrest. That was a physical attack. That was a battery, all right, by one who was stalking and monitoring in concert with the state in plane and helicopters over my vehicle under the fake sun at 714 North Vine, right outside of Woodside Senior Apartments. All of this is heavily documented. Not only the environment, the stalking conduct by the state, and this is occurring pursuant to what is ongoing federal stalking. This is a kidnapping upon false allegations by this entity, all right, that engaged in kidnapping from May 4, 2019 upon illegal arrest of Jay Burnett and Sequoia. All right, they're already documented on the internet. It's as though they wanted me to remind the masses about the criminal activity that the Ontario Police is already engaged in. So this breaking into my vehicle, this federal stalking conduct was not laid out, never had the opportunity to lay it out to the quote unquote public defender Priska So. She's a state actor, not representing my interests. This is the pattern of conduct. This is how they engage in the state's same exact pattern of conduct, all right? The same with Laura Alvarez, Vanessa Rodriguez, Misha Moss, Zahara Tigeri Arredondo, and Lily Brantley, Lee Arthur Sonnenberg, all of these who claim to be a public defender in what was a fictitious prosecution by the state upon federal stalking, which was the means of kidnapping. This malicious prosecution of May 2019 it's a means of kidnapping. This malicious allegation, it's a false allegation by a third party, and then also the allegation, it evolved from a battery, and then they changed it to an assault while I was kidnapped inside of the jail. I'm kidnapped because the state is monitoring. This is a means of the state taking your freedom, trying to conceal the fact that I am documenting it and prosecuting it. The time frame, May 2019, I am documenting the state. I am engaging in documenting third parties, which the entity is very, very hostile to. False allegations, and including Tracy Banks, okay? She's engaging in monitoring, and I'm documenting her inside of the apartment of Woodside Senior Apartments. She engages in a false allegation and engaging in a pattern of criminal summoning, by the way, and she represents the people of the state, okay? And so you have what is breaking into my vehicle while you're engaging in federal stalking, and this is illegal. This is an illegal arrest. It's not just but you're looking at, this is beyond a malicious prosecution. This is a malicious prosecution upon federal stalking. That is kidnapping. You do not have any probable cause to prosecute. You don't even have probable cause to arrest. You're talking about the entity that's monitoring and seeking to conceal the fact that it's monitoring. That's a kidnapping. While you are, by the way, engaging in criminal summoning and false allegations in order to substantiate your illegal seizure, but he had no right to arrest in the first place. Already knowing what I am doing in the car, this is just additional context. This is the absence of coincidence that the same exact police officer arrives at the museum stating that the alarm went off. I've documented the Ontario Police Department engaging in this same claim at the Ontario Health Center while they're stalking relevant position, while I am across the street at the bus stop in Metro 102 apartments, third parties creating audible activity while the state is stalking over my head in plane and helicopter. Ontario Police Department using light activity as they are walking in relevant position around the building using a flashlight. This is their form. They don't have any form, but this is how they engage in the outward appearance of, and that's demonic activity right there. The attempt to provide some outward appearance, the guise under which the superficial veil whereby federal stalking is underway, and they are engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, stalking with light, stalking in relevant position, all right, and doing so pursuant to what is ongoing group conduct. That is demonic activity, all right, and doing so, trying to engage in it by form, that's demonic. Here's another plane over the roof. It is 2:22 a.m. All right, and they're flying directly over the roof where I am laying down at the museum. Very, very specific, just like over the roof of my car where I was parked at 714 North Vine Avenue, all right? Just like over over me while I am walking to any location, while I remain at any location, all right? While I'm inside of any vehicle, all right? This is very specific patrolling in a aircraft. This is pacing in plane. This is demonic. I want to be clear. Amplification of that plane activity. So you are necessarily flying at an exceedingly low elevation. And where are you coming from flying at this ongoing low elevation? You only hear the plane activity as they are flying over me. And this is patrolling conduct, okay? That's demonic in and of itself, and it's called pacing, which is what the entity does together as a group. The people are stalking in relevant position on Euclid Avenue on Hope Boulevard, just like I showed on video across the street at Transit, sitting in that vehicle, using the vehicle as lights while they are stalking in their vehicle. That's exactly what they are doing. All right. This is P.O.C. while I'm explaining what is that officer documented criminal activity of kidnapping using the court system and as a means of kidnapping. And then in addition to his breaking into my vehicle on May 4, 2019, after the criminal summoning of Tracy Banks, who's monitoring me inside of the Woodside Senior Apartments and acting with the state that kidnapped me. She did not say a word. And actually, I watched her illegally enter my vehicle in concert with the Ontario Police Department. They didn't have a right to enter my car. She didn't have a right to enter my car. So after I was after I was physically attacked by Sequoia and Burnett, and then they went inside of my car, took out my belongings. Tracy Banks is acting in concert with it. This is the third party. This is the people engaging in seizure of my property, engaging in breaking in my car, just taking my stuff out. That none of them had the right to do. All right, didn't give consent to any of them. While, by the way, they are ceaselessly engaging in federal stalking under the fake sun at 714 North Vine Avenue, right outside of Woodside Senior Apartments. You have that's 2:25 a.m. I want to be clear. That's another plane over the same exact hooded area right here. Just like I showed on video, that's where they're flying right over me. So you have what is this third party, Tracy Banks, acting with the Ontario Police Department, and this was not the first incident of kidnapping upon the criminal summoning of Tracy Banks. But I want to speak to what is the ongoing harassment and hostility to their documented criminal conduct on the venue of the internet, because this is what the Ontario Police Department are hostile to. While I am speaking to what is their condition, which is demon possession, they're psychopaths in police uniforms and they have no business in that position, let alone the fact that they are criminals suffering from demon possession, all right? You have what is their criminal activity, and I'm providing the context as to why. You're looking at what is corruption. Their corruption is caused by demon possession. These are psychopaths, okay? They're not just criminals. These are psychopaths that are suffering from that which you cannot see. These are demon-possessed. This is a demon-possessed agency, the Ontario Police Department. So you have what is this officer arriving, arresting me, breaking into my vehicle in concert with Tracy Banks, and kidnapping me, taking me to the Ontario Police Department. Fake sun remains over the Ontario Police vehicle that I'm transported to from 714 North Vine Avenue, where my car remained, to 9700 Etowanda Avenue, where the state's fake sun. Okay, this is the ongoing documentation for years, all right? This is what is exactly occurring while Jay Burnett and Sequoia transport me to Etowanda at the West Valley Jail. And as they get out of the car, Officer Jay Burnett, he's so excited, this fool pulls out his cell phone in the parking lot of West Valley. And while I am specifically, I know exactly where I was. I was parked in the parking lot facing the entrance of the jail. I was sitting on the driver's side on the passenger seat of his vehicle, and him and Sequoia get out of the car. Sequoia is parked on the driver's side of his vehicle that I am sitting in the back of, and he gets out. They are at the rear of the vehicle, close enough for me to hear. He pulls out his cell phone, and I hear my voice. And I am in an argument with Tracy Banks. And this is the argument that occurred before she stepped out of the apartment and called the police. I hear myself telling her if she ever puts her hands on me again, then I'm going to physically hurt her. And I'm putting that in a clean way, because that's not the nice way that I told her. She hit me, and I told her if she hits me again, I'm going to hit her back. In other words, all right, putting it politely. And I hear my voice on his phone, and this occurred before she ever called the police, all right? And so he's playing this on his phone in the parking lot with Sequoia. It is currently 2:28 a.m. That's another plane. Understand, you're going to pay attention to my documentation. You're not only listen to the substance of my documentation, which is federal stalking evidence, the conduct that the entity engages in while it is monitoring, meaning as it is listening to me remind the masses about the criminal activity that the entity engages in, they create more and more activity, which is federal stalking conduct, but this is also the demonic behavioral pattern, okay? Engaging in more patrolling conduct, which is audible activity, flying directly over me, over the museum, over the side of the museum, repeatedly and increasingly so. This is just like the train activity you heard last night that I documented, okay? Doing it even more so, even though that's a frequent method of stalking with audible activity while I'm at the museum. But understand, when the entity hears me specifically documenting it, is aware that I'm documenting, and this is based on the nature of the crime of monitoring, which they are monitoring, the entity does more. That's a demonic behavioral pattern. And that's what you're listening to as well, okay? So back to this Jay Burnett, this actor. This arrogant fool, because that's what he is, all right? This is a demon-possessed criminal, but this is an arrogant fool that did not expect for it to come back, okay? He pulls out his cell phone and plays the argument. Him and Sequoia it's almost celebratory. He pulls it out and he's playing back the argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. And this argument occurred before she stepped out. Understand, she didn't call the police inside the apartment. We were arguing. She hits me. I hit her back. We're in a verbal argument. And for like another 2 minutes, she gets the rest of her stuff. She's going to work and I'm staying in the apartment. And I'm getting something to eat. She walks out of the apartment. She goes to the parking lot. And this is where she, quote unquote, calls the police. Outside of the apartment, police don't arrive until about 10, 12 minutes later. And we have separated. The argument is long over, okay? This argument occurred inside of her, quote unquote, private residence before she, quote unquote, called the police. You don't have to call the police. The police are stalking. This is federal stalking that is underway. All right. But that's called criminal summoning. This is how the system operates. This is how Economy Inn engaged in kidnapping on September 25th, 2020, while federal stalking was underway. OK. All right. That's yet another venue, Woodside Senior Apartments, 714 North Vine Avenue, where heavily documented federal stalking is underway and criminal summoning by the people. OK. These are all venues where the Ontario Police Department engaged in kidnapping. All right. And the people providing what is the absence of any form, but I'm showing how the system operates, how they monitor together. All right. The malice with which the entity acts, using their positions and abusing the criminal court system, abusing the devices of law enforcement while they are monitoring together and just overall acting to conceal that. OK. And so this is what criminal summoning accomplishes. This is what a malicious and fictitious prosecution accomplishes. This is what criminal defamation accomplishes, which is what was documented pursuant to the fictitious prosecution, the People v. Spencer, Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. Understand this malicious prosecution, were it not summarily removed from the from operation. And this is after I told Priska So about this very incident. Jay Burnett, this police officer that is claiming that I battered Tracy Banks, which is a false allegation, played the argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks's apartment. And this argument occurred before she called the police. Okay, I told Priska So this, and on that day, January 28, 2020, on that same day, this quote unquote case was immediately thrown out. All right. And this is after they engage in literally mocking the court system. Officer Jay Burnett gets on the stand. He is lying about what happened, stating that he's in fear of his safety while I am demanding a question. I'm demanding an answer as to why he broke into my car. How did he even know I was in that car? How do you even know why are you even opening up the car door? Tracy Banks calling the police after an incident has occurred is not providing him any probable cause to or exception to a warrant to break into my vehicle. It does not exist. In addition to the fact that he's engaged in federal stalking, those legal fictions don't exist where the entity is monitoring. They're operating outside of the law, and you do not have any of those devices operating as a criminal, and that's what the police are doing. You don't have probable cause. You're operating outside of the law. You're engaging in criminal activity. All right. Now, this is just common sense, but I'm just showing you this is the guise under which this whole issue of public corruption exists. They're engaging in criminal activity and then using the actual legal system in order to perpetuate that criminal operation. All right. To just throw people into jail or wherever they want to throw them while they're engaging in a criminal activity together. The courts, the sheriff's department, and the police department. Okay. And just operating off of the actual law while they are in plain violation of the law. I mean, entirely operating outside of the bounds of the law. All right. As though they are above the law. All right. And this is federal stalking. This is the matter of public corruption. Malicious prosecution upon federal stalking is the same act of obstruction of justice via kidnapping. And this is what occurred on May 4, 2019. And this is the officer who arrived right now, or not right now, but that is arriving at the museum. And federal stalking is underway, just as you are continuously listening to right now, as they have left physically my visible presence. They are stalking right now. Officer Jay Burnett has been engaged in federal stalking for years since I documented him. I just happened to document this one in 2019. He's documented on camera at third-party facilitating venue, Starbucks, located at 706 West Holt Boulevard, under the fake sun at that venue, where he is in his police vehicle stalking on more than one occasion. I caught it on video, but I also documented it the first time that I went to that Starbucks. That officer arrived. All right, this is the absence of coincidence. He's coming to yet another venue here, and this is the pattern that they engage in after they engage in, first of all, he engaged in kidnapping, so he arrives at the Starbucks on more than one occasion engaging in federal stalking. But I documented, like I said, his arrival is the communication of a threat. This is how demons behave. Understand the context. This is how demons behave. He has engaged in kidnapping. He arrives at this third-party facilitating venue where federal stalking is ceaselessly underway. I mean, fake sun over the Starbucks, the state stalking by plane and helicopter over me at the Starbucks, following me to and from the Starbucks. And he is engaging in federal stalking in concert with the people at the Starbucks, okay? Arriving there the very first time that I went to that Starbucks in 2019, and Officer Jay Burnett arrives there, which I documented as well. And this is the absence of coincidence. Federal stalking is underway, which is also tying all of this together. And it is the absence of coincidence. But I'm just showing you how demons behave and how documentation is that which the entity is unprepared for. Okay. And so I'm documenting what is ongoing stalking by these kidnappers. All right. Engaging in what is a threat with the intent to terrorize while they're wearing police uniforms, engaging in stalking conduct, revealing that they are psychopaths and demon-possessed stalkers under the fake sun doing all of this, all right? And in directed light at nightfall, stalking with light using their flashing flashlights, all right? Stalking with light in concert with the people who are stalking together, all right? This is P.O.C. It's 2:35 a.m. And that officer is the one who has engaged in, and I will go ahead and publish. It's already on my website. I have already published this information. And this is kidnapping in concert with the people. This is how, again, the people are directly engaged in kidnapping while they are engaging in this criminal system of federal stalking with the state. Indeed, the state cannot do it without the people. The people acting via Tracy Banks, criminally summoning the police while they're monitoring together. This is how Officer Jay Burnett is able to play back the verbal argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, which he's using as he's just writing up, just making up allegations to substantiate his illegal arrest, which is a kidnapping, while he's engaging in federal stalking. And the fake son is over the West Valley jail while he is there playing back the argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks' apartment before she ever called the police, which she didn't need to call the police because the state is stalking. They're monitoring, listening to everything that's ongoing inside of that apartment while I remained inside of that apartment. All right. This is the ongoing communication of a threat. So he is arriving. And I also want to point something else out, just like in my documentation. And the reason why I'm going through this is because this officer arrived right now, and you're listening to federal stalking in the background, and this is documented acts of kidnapping by the state. And officer of the court, he's a criminal. He's engaged in kidnapping via participation in what is a malicious prosecution. Understand, this is not an ordinary malicious prosecution. This is the state that is engaged in federal stalking, engaging in a malicious prosecution, seeking to kidnap. This is serving obstruction of justice. Leonard Chang, all right, of the West Valley Division of the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office, engaging in what is a malicious prosecution, knowing that there was no probable cause to prosecute, all right, and acting as though that this is a mistake. This is no mistake. They're monitoring at the courthouse as well, all right. They are monitoring. The police department is monitoring. The people of the state of California are monitoring. This is the ongoing public corruption in operation. All right. That's a malicious prosecution upon federal stalking. This is kidnapping by the officers of the court, entertaining that malicious prosecution. And so you have the Ontario police officers who get on the stand, and he is lying about what happened on this day. The video that is captured on their body cams, it is deleted. All right. He stops the video as soon as he begins physically attacking me. That's when the video stops. All right. He engaged in a prolonged attack, which is not seen and witnessed on while he is, quote unquote, on the stand, engaging in federal stalking, lying as his audible activity as to the reason, covering up his physical attack. This is an assault and battery by him and his partner, Sequoia, who also was engaged in federal stalking at the same apartment complex, which I documented her in picture standing under the fake sun at apartment 51 in Woodside Senior Apartments. Okay, this same officer, while I'm documenting the state stalking in a helicopter, while the state is stalking in a helicopter right now. Okay, let me give you a picture of that. All right, 2:39 a.m. and I did capture video for you so you can see that. This officer, Sequoia, the African-American female, U.S.C, July 3rd, I believe, I documented she is standing outside of apartment 51. And you're looking at the light activity. The state's fake sun is directly above her, as it is day in and day out, while I'm remaining at that apartment building. And you're looking at the impossible light activity inside of that apartment 51. All right. You've got the directed light inside of the apartment. Fake sun remains over the apartment. The state is engaging in the same behavioral pattern with, quote unquote, rising the sun on the left side of apartment 51 and, quote unquote, setting the sun on the right side of apartment 51. The state's light source remained over Woodside Senior Apartments, apartment number 51, all day long. Right. And this officer that engaged in kidnapping on May 4th in concert with Officer Jay Burnett on May 4th is documented engaging in federal stalking again via Ontario Police Department, acting in concert with the people of the state, having no right whatsoever. They literally just showed up. All right. And then Tracy Banks later is providing what's audible activity, the explanation as to why the police just showed up and were knocking on my door when no incident occurred. Literally nothing. I'm eating strawberries and I'm walking to the surveillance camera at the parking lot area, and I'm documenting what is amplified helicopter activity because there's a surveillance camera at the corner of the property outside. And understand we're in their twisted universe where monitoring is not occurring. My walking outside and waving my arm in the air is of no concern to anyone. It should be no concern to anyone. But I'll tell you why it is, because they know they're being documented. That's why. Okay. And this is hostility to documentation. You have what is the state stalking via helicopter at Woodside Senior Apartments, and immediately the Ontario Police Department they're not entering the gates. They were already in the parking lot while the state is sounding helicopter activity over me, while the fake sun is directly over me in the parking lot in the apartment. As I step outside, the police department is already there.
Okay, so this is, by the way, this is a summoning of the police. And again, that's their form. The police are already present. They're stalking. They're monitoring. They know exactly what I'm doing. They're stalking in helicopter over the apartment building. Okay, this is hostility to using the surveillance cameras. This is an act of harassment and threatening, seeking to terrorize, monitoring, and doing so via the Ontario police, who were again prepared to engage in another kidnapping, as I'm documenting federal stalking at apartment 51 under the fake sun, where the state was stalking a helicopter, just like I stated. This same officer got on the stand on May 4th, 2019, Sequoia, and Jay Burnett, number 19993. Okay, they got on the stand, and their audible activity was straight up lies. And the body cam is removed, okay? You're only seeing about 30 seconds of it. The entire physical attack that I suffered by the Ontario Police Department, throwing me onto the ground, and I had very long braids at the time. I mean, they were very exceptionally long, and he actually pulled out one of the braids from my hair, pulled out my hair, all right, while he's physically attacking me after breaking into my car, all right, upon federal stalking, pursuant to criminal summoning by third-party Tracy Banks, who was monitoring me inside of her apartment. In concert with the people of the state, they're all monitoring together, all right? I'm subject to the pattern of conduct inside apartment 51 at Woodside Senior Apartments, which is nothing but a venue, all right? And so you have what is the removal of the body cam, which would show me questioning him, and in no way posing any threat whatsoever. This is a disingenuous claim, audible activity by the state that's engaging in federal stalking and seeking to cover up the fact that he physically attacked me, throws me on the ground, is dragging my body on the asphalt, puts his knee in my back, all right, after he has pulled out my hair as well, and forced me into handcuffs. And this attack is what Sequoia is a part of as well. And they are claiming because I was in my car and I was writing in my journal, and because I was documenting the P.O.C, and then he breaks in my car. So I happen to have, my journal is seen in the body cam in the 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds that they kept, all right? The rest of it is, all of it is damning, all right? So all of it is removed. And that's all you see is me asking him, why did you break into my car? And I still have my pen in my hand. He has thrown the journal on the ground, okay? So my journal's on the ground and the pen is in my hand. And so he's stating, because I had a pen in my hand, he was in fear, okay? He's breaking into my car. He's engaged in federal stalking. He is engaging in kidnapping and doing so pursuant to criminal summoning of the state, after he should have had no knowledge that I was even in the car. And he certainly didn't have any right to break into the car. Even if my windows were not covered up and I was sitting in the car, he still would have had to ask, are you Tracy Banks? I'm sorry, are you Erica Spencer? All right, you got to act like you don't know who I am. You're monitoring, you're a stalker, but they have to act like they're not, right? So he has to act like, ask me, you know, knock on the car door, ask me to open it up, all right? That would have been the proper procedure, all right? Even if my windows weren't covered up, such that he would not have been obstructed in his vision to see me. But understand, they're monitoring, they know exactly where I'm at. He just breaks into the car. This is the state acting, thinking that it's impervious to documentation, thinking it's impervious and above the law, all right? Prosecution. He's just going to kidnap me and put me in jail. They were going to artificially engineer a criminal case against me. And understand that same act of obstruction of justice is criminal defamation. That was a part of the same sequence of events that the state intended. I told Priska so that Officer Jay Burnett played an argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks's apartment before she even summoned the police. How is this? How is that possible? They're monitoring, okay? And this is ongoing evidence that I am being supplied with as I am documenting it. And again, I am learning all the ways in which I am being violated. I am being subject to surveillance by the state, all right? So I am becoming familiar with their pattern of conduct as they're engaging in this criminal act time after time after time. And I bring this up to Priska so, and it's, understand, she knows this, all right? But I am removing her ability to act ignorant about it, okay? As I verbally tell her on January 28th, as I have been subject to ongoing kidnapping in the jail, San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, kidnapping at West Valley Jail, San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, kidnapping at Central Detention Center, all right? And this is, no, I'm sorry, not Central Detention Center, just West Valley and Glen Helen, excuse me, Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center. And the federal stalking is underway by the people and the deputies of the jail. They're monitoring at these jails while they're engaging in what is a malicious prosecution upon false allegations by a third party who's engaging in federal stalking with the state. All right. And this is while I am at West Valley and Glen Helen and I remain kidnapped. So on January 28th, while I remain subject to kidnapping, and this is how the public defender engaged in the ongoing malicious prosecution. They're not actually representing your interests, and they're not by necessity, because this is how you remain kidnapped. That's the state's intent, for you to be kidnapped. All right, they don't call it kidnapping. They call it being subject to a prosecution upon criminal charges. All right, you're being subject to a trial. No, they're kidnapping and they're monitoring. Okay, and they're using the court system. They're using their positions as lawyers and attorneys and police officers and sheriffs in order to engage in that kidnapping while they're monitoring the entire time. Okay, and so you have what is I'm explaining this because Officer Jay Burnett arrived, and so this is opportunity to describe what his criminal activity was in 2019 and repeatedly at 706 West Halt, Starbucks, third-party facilitating venue, heavily documented and documented same criminal activity, same demonic activity at 507 Euclid Avenue, because it's just another venue and the same pattern of conduct is underway. All right, so you have what is this officer arriving, and so I just want to provide context, and this is all speaking to the threat that is intended. While he is present engaging in federal stalking, the ongoing stalking by the state is providing context as to what he's doing while he's here, creating light activity, creating audible activity, all right, and using his position as a means of not only a threat, but to engage in federal stalking. Understand the police uniform is no form. The police uniform is the very evidence against them, all right, for engaging in what is criminal activity, all right. This is the absolute removal of form, and you're looking at what is a demon-possessed psychopath wearing a police officer uniform. That's what you're looking at, all right. That's what you're witnessing. That's what I am describing. And this is the one who kidnapped me, and this is also the removal of any coincidence. There are no coincidences where the entity is monitoring. This is what I'm showing you. Coincidences do not exist. They do not exist where the entity is monitoring. They maintain knowledge and control over all information and control over the entirety of circumstances. There are no coincidences. The entity is monitoring. Okay, so so with regard to this kidnapping, and Priska So, she's a public defender. And her form is that she's representing me, but she is actually not. The ongoing pattern of conduct as the state, they engage in a dereliction of duty. I mean, just manifestly lacking in what they are supposed to be doing, which is representing the interests. I was not even arraigned in what was an actual prosecution. At least it wasn't a fictitious prosecution, but it was a malicious prosecution upon federal stalking. The court does not have any right to prosecute you. They're monitoring. This is how the state is kidnapping you. Okay? They're using the court system in order to kidnap, right? As they are operating outside of the law. All right, so you have what is her manifestly derelict administration of duties that she owes, representing my interests, and I put that in air quotes because she's actually not. I was not arraigned. I was arrested on May 4th. Okay, I was not arraigned until well after, I believe it was May 8th. Okay, so I'm just sitting in jail. They don't even arraign me. Okay, this is the entity that thinks that it is impervious to documentation, impervious to being prosecuted. I was not arraigned until well after. I believe it was like May 9th, May 10th. I was arraigned after I was arrested on May 4th. I'm sitting in the jails of West Valley Jail, May 4th, 2019. All right. And then I am, quote unquote, arraigned, and they start this, what is a malicious prosecution. But I understand this is an arraignment that is actually not so. It is well after the constitutional requirement. And so this is a malicious / fictitious prosecution, because you actually have the Leonard Chang, who is arriving in court. But again, I did not get a copy of a complaint to see what's the name on the complaint. All right. This fictitious prosecution that I documented, it has a fake name on the complaint. F. Ramos is not a real person. All right. And so this very well is a fictitious prosecution as well. I was arraigned well after May 4th. OK, they didn't even have a right to keep me in jail. They kept me in jail. They're engaging in that regard. It's kidnapping as well. OK, but you're talking about kidnapping because the entity is monitoring. All right, it's an act of obstruction of justice. And so while I'm sitting at West Valley Jail and I am not arraigned until well after the deadline, all right, and so not the 5th, not the 6th, not the 7th, not the 8th. I believe it is the 9th, and I will confirm because I have this documented already. I'm not arraigned until like the 9th or the 10th, literally the 9th or the 10th of May, okay? And I'm remaining in jail, and then I'm transported to Glen Helen, and I am denied the ability to bring any of my documentation, which is written out while I'm subject to this kidnapping in jail. The deputies who are seeking to conceal information, all right, they don't want me bringing any of my paperwork, which is directly related to my legal case. This is pursuant to the inmate rules and regulations. They are bound by Title 15. I mean, just rampant violation of Title 15. Okay, don't want me to bring my documentation, which I would show to the PD. All right, to the public defender, P.O.C, who was not representing my interests. I remain subject to kidnapping. She knows that I was not arraigned in a timely manner. She's not bringing that up. She doesn't say anything, all right? Violation of her duties. She's not actually representing my interests. She's engaging in the pattern of conduct, all right? And she's engaging in ongoing deliberate act of ignorance until I remove that convenient act of ignorance when I tell her that the police officer played back an argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks' apartment before Tracy Banks ever called the police, okay? And once I told her that, the quote-unquote case prosecution took a sharp turn. And this is when you have what is some hearing in the courtroom and the judges engage in calling up the officers to testify. They're lying. They've removed the body cam footage, and they're engaging in what is literally a show. It was all contrived. It was audible activity, in other words. The criminal, and they just got rid of the case, okay? And this is after I tell P.O.C that Jay Burnett played back an argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks' apartment. That's monitoring. And he was using that, first of all, to doctor his paperwork to substantiate his physical attack and arrest. There's another plane, 2:54 a.m. And you have what is the officers that get on the stand and they literally make up information which is unsubstantiated by body cam that has been removed, all right, showing what would be revealed, which is a physical attack and an assault and battery by Officer Jay Burnett and Sequoia under the fake sun at the same address where I have documented hundreds of incidents, just like I'm documenting now, state stalking over my car by plane and helicopter, day and night and day, okay? Following me everywhere that I go, from my car to the library, to the Starbucks, to any location and back to my car, all right? That's what I've documented, right? Stalking from place to place to place. And that's exactly what was occurring when they engaged in kidnapping, and then pursuant to an untimely, which is a malicious/fictitious prosecution. I was not arraigned in a timely fashion. They proceed with what is a prosecution pursuant to what are malicious allegations. And again, like I said, just in the same way that Juan Garcia physically arrived in court to participate in a fictitious prosecution, in the same way that Mohammed Reza Ronagi physically arrived to engage in a fictitious prosecution, in the same way that it's 2:55 a.m., another plane over me, in the same way that you have Juan Garcia, Mohammed Reza Ronagi, Sonia Jifkins, you have Marby Burnett, you have these actors acting with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department physically arriving in the courtroom, engaging in federal stalking, monitoring in the court, and engaging in the criminal act of obstruction of justice, a fictitious prosecution. They are physically arising, but you're talking about the paperwork. On paper, it is a fictitious prosecution. The complaint is brought by a fictitious name, a person that doesn't exist. You cannot find them on the California bar site. It doesn't exist. And so, like I said, this is where I am getting into the wealth of stalking conduct by the police. I am getting into the documentation of the police department, and this is where I'm arriving in Ontario. I was documenting the police before I got to Ontario. And they were engaged in heavy stalking. Every city that I went to, every county that I went to, those counties included Orange County, Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, and the same stalking conduct underway. And I was subject to kidnapping by Ontario police. I have been in this city the longest, specifically documenting the federal stalking of the police. So and this is why the Ontario police have engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping upon federal stalking. And understand also, this is also because the more that you are documenting, which the entity is aware of, the more aggressive the entity becomes. All right. The more I documented, the more aggressive the entity became. That's demonic. Right. You're dealing with demons. Okay. So you have what is also the ongoing. I want to get back to what they did in court. Okay, so I tell P.O.C about the act of Burnett playing back the argument. I mean, my voice is on his phone. He just pulls out his phone and plays back the argument that occurred inside of her apartment, her quote supposedly private residence, where I'm telling her that I will hurt her if she puts her hands on me again. He played this back, and I heard my voice clearly while I'm sitting in the back seat on the driver's side of his vehicle as he's parked next to Sequoia, who's parked on the opposite side of him on the driver's side in the parking lot of West Valley under the fake sun, okay, which is directly over the parking lot of West Valley now as I have been transported to that state facilitating venue. And in this courtroom on May 22nd, 2019, they get on the stand. This is when I think I cited the wrong date earlier. I'm sorry. It was May 4th to May 22nd. On May 22nd is when I tell P.O.C that Jay Burnett played this back on his cell phone. And this is when P.O.C, she doesn't respond. She doesn't say anything about it. Understand? All right. But noted, duly noted, the entity has duly noted this, all right? Because understand, in her role, she has certain duties. She's not fulfilling those duties, but she is charged with certain duties, all right? So I tell her this information, this is a fictitious prosecution, understand? I call it a malicious prosecution because I saw an actual DA, and I was told the name, but understand you had actual DAs entering into the courtroom in relevant position, creating ongoing audible activity in the venue of the court, monitoring me while they're engaging in an obstruction of justice of kidnapping using the court system. And so that very well was a fictitious prosecution. I was not arraigned, not even until after the 8th of May in 2019. So this is another fictitious prosecution, essentially, okay? And so what you have is the officers of this kidnapping, Burnett and Sequoia, get on the stand, and they are lying, stating that I was waging a threat against them after they broke into my car. Nobody is talking about the fact that they broke into my car. P.O.C skips right over that. She is finding the most delicate way to remove this case from existence, in other words, okay? Not speaking to the fact that I was not arraigned on time. I shouldn't have even been sitting in jail when she called herself representing me in this case, all right? She's intentionally not addressing that. She's engaged in the P.O.C. She's engaged in kidnapping. And federal stalking is underway, but I'm showing you how they engage in dereliction of duty, violation of their duties, in order to engage in kidnapping. The intent is to remain in jail. That's the point. Okay, they don't intend on giving you an actual fair trial based on facts and the information. They make up information. This is what I'm showing. They make it up. They'll remove information that's not helpful. They'll disregard information that's not helpful. Okay, they will make up court hearings, just like they did like I showed, like I've documented, making up court hearings, making up events that did not happen, making up information. All right, making it up. All right, in order to substantiate what is their criminal objective, ongoing kidnapping, and ultimately to commit illegally. That's what they are ultimately engaging in, and understand that's exactly what they were seeking to do. As I tell P.O.C on the 22nd, that Jay Burnett plays this information on his cell phone, which I clearly heard while I'm arrested in the back of his police vehicle. This is when they have a hearing, and this is in air quotes because they're engaging in nothing but criminal activity inside of this venue of a courtroom. All right, this is a fictitious prosecution. All right, and you have what is no body cam footage. All right, his entire physical battery and assault with Sequoia is not captured on the body cam. They conveniently do not have that. And Priska So remains focused on a line of questioning about, oh, do you know what Erica Spencer in fact looked like after Tracy Banks called? And he said no. All right, this is supposed to be his concession, and getting to the fact that, okay, well, he didn't have any right to enter the vehicle in the first place. And understand, she is so delicately touching this. She is not prosecuting like she should be, zealously advocating like she should be. And by the way, I shouldn't even be in jail because there was no actual arraignment. Arraigning me on the 10th of May after I was arrested illegally on the 4th is not an actual arraignment. It's a fictitious prosecution. So you have what is, this is the means whereby the judge, quote unquote, dismisses the case after Leonard Chang feigns ignorance, stating, well, you know, I didn't know. I genuinely thought that, my officers have the right to enter the vehicle and arrest Miss Spencer. He's acting ignorant. And it is very poor performance. Okay, this is entirely contrived. This is the way that they're getting rid of this case after I have told Priska So that Jay Burnett played back the argument that occurred inside of her apartment, Tracy Banks's apartment. Okay, and this is how they just summarily get rid of it the same day I'm released from jail. And on the same day, the Fontana Police Department engaged in federal stalking with Charles Kelly and his children inside of the vehicle, which is documented conduct. And this is the absence of coincidence. The state is stalking while I'm in their house. Okay, in Las Colinas, a housing subdivision. The state is stalking by plane and helicopter while I'm in their home. They have cameras, surveillance cameras inside of their home, which they are using to monitor and stalk. All right, and these are the same demon-possessed actors who are engaging in years of federal stalking at third-party facilitating venues, Sunrise Church. They call themselves helping. They're not helping. While they pick me up from jail after I've been released from kidnapping. All right, on May 22nd, 2019, they take me to their house. Tracy Banks doesn't pick me up. So Charles Kelly comes and picks me up. And this is the entity engaging in federal stalking, engaging in what is basically the provision of documentation of how this entity operates, how it's acting in concert. Charles Kelly picks me up from the jail at West Valley and is engaged in ongoing federal stalking, and I am familiar with this third party because he attended what is the religious organization, because it's not the actual church. They're engaging in not only criminal activity, which is federal stalking in violation of federal law, but this is where I witnessed a rampant demon possession. Okay, and so these are demons that are present, and they are engaging in monitoring me inside of their private residence. The state is stalking, flying over their home in Las Colinas, amplifying plane activity inside of their home. The state's fake sun is over their home, and the police department, the Rialto Police Department, they are stalking relevant position in the streets of Las Colinas around their home. And so as I am in the car, for example, we'll go to the store. We went to the Ontario Mills a couple times. I'm only at their house for like a day and a half, okay? Because they rather quickly show their true face. They're not actually helping. They're engaging in federal stalking, and they're acting with the police department that is stalking outside of their home, the Rialto Police Department and the Fontana Police Department, that engaged in using a means of giving me a ticket as a means of harassment. They're engaging in federal stalking. You don't have reasonable suspicion. You're monitoring with the driver of this vehicle while you're stalking in planes and helicopters. And by the way, the same day that I'm released from, hours after I'm released from kidnapping by the jail, is when the Fontana Police Department, this is what I'm saying, none of this is a coincidence. You're looking at one after another, the entity acting together. And in the same way that this Ontario Police Department engaging in the same communication of a threat while they are hostile to being documented and being exposed while I am publishing their criminal activity that has existed over a term of years now, as I've documented it systematically. All right. And so this is federal stalking is underway the entire time. And while I am with this family, these demon-possessed psychopaths, the Kellys, they're documented on my website, and this is documented. This is published information already. I'm released from this kidnapping. They pick me up, take me to their home where I'm subject to the same stalking by the state. The state that's flying over my car by plane and helicopter is flying over their house that I remain in plane and helicopter and amplifying it. The state's light source is over their venue. The state is stalking by police around their home. as we're driving to and from their home, going to any place, going to the store, going to the mall. All right. The people are monitoring the entire time. Okay. And so what you have is the release from kidnapping on May 22nd after I tell P.O.C. that, and again, that's not her reasoning. So I am no way suggesting that she represented my interest. She did not. She did in the most delicate way that she could. They found a way to get rid of the case based on, okay, well, you opened up her car door. And that is relevant to the illegal arrest, but they did not address the issue at all. At all. How did he have information about the argument that occurred inside of Tracy Banks' home before she ever called the police? All right, they don't want to touch that. They don't want to touch that. So they skirt around the issue. You opened up her car door. Leonard Chang is acting ignorant about that. Oh, I thought, no, you didn't. You're monitoring, but they get rid of this case. This is a means of kidnapping. They will try it again another way. All right, i.e., Mary Wendy Victor 2000640. The People v. Spencer. That was the additional means. That was the next means, the more aggressive means of kidnapping. All right. And so you have what is the Fontana Police Department engaging in federal stalking, and this officer acting with the Kellys, who are engaging in federal stalking and the threatening with the intent to terrorize together. And this is just ongoing hostility by the entity. Focusing on me in the passenger seat of the car, where the driver did not have on a seatbelt either. The police officer skates right on past that and focuses on me, giving him a valid driver's license with a valid address on it, but he is honing in on and focusing on, give me a physical address. I want a physical address. I need a physical address in case I have to come get you for a seatbelt ticket. This is audible activity under the fake sun while he's monitoring, all right? And also, this is pursuant to knowledge that he has about the fact that I am a transient. So he wanted me to say out loud what he already knows, that I didn't have a physical address. This is why he is harping on the fact that he is insisting on a physical address, which he's not going to do anything with. He wrote here, you write down the address that's on my driver's license. It's perfectly valid for your purposes. And he just wanted me to say out loud that which he already knew, that I don't have a physical address. This is harassment by the entity that's monitoring, taking some sort of demented joy out of me saying out loud that I'm homeless, which is no result of any of my conduct whatsoever. This is ongoing documentation of an entity that's a stalker and a psychopath. All right. And this is precipitating from that same entity that knows that I'm homeless and wants me to say it out loud, is the cause of this economic state where the state is stalking and monitoring, all right, doing so on the job. And that's what I've documented as well. All right. And so that's what occurred. I just want to be clear. That's what occurred. And that's what the Kellys are documented engaging in. And this is precipitating from Officer Jay Burnett. And so he arrives at the museum today. And this is the absence of coincidence. He's stalking using light, using his flashlight, patrolling around. And third party is on the grounds of the museum right now, engaging in ongoing federal stalking while the state is patrolling by airplane. And understand, third parties acting in concert with the state. They do not have form, but third parties are, the intent of the system is that third parties provide form to the state as they focus their attention on another third party. And it's supposed to be the form whereby they are maintaining presence. You have a third party that's stalking a relevant position on the museum grounds right now, while ongoing audible activity is maintained and stalking with light is ongoing. And this is also following what is Jay Burnett's, his whole purpose of being here, to engage in federal stalking and harassment and terrorizing an American citizen that has documented his kidnapping conduct and federal stalking activity, and wanting to tell me that I can't sleep here while he is aware that I'm sleeping here. All right, and the third party arriving on the grounds is no form of that. That's Amtrak in directed light. All right, and that's what you're witnessing while Amtrak was repeatedly sounding, and the directed light remains on the grounds. Amtrak is engaged in ongoing federal stalking. I want to speak to it is 3:10 a.m. currently right now, and that third party, yeah, he's on the opposite side of the museum, sleeping. He's not sleeping. That's ongoing monitoring conduct, maintaining relevant position. And he is present, especially as I am reciting the pattern of conduct. Amtrak is monitoring right now while I'm being molested with directed light on the museum grounds. And this is P.O.C, just like I have continuously documented, but that's what you are witnessing when I'm speaking to this, not only using the train activity as a means of stalking with stalking with audible activity. Remember, the state is molesting with directed light, while Amtrak is the guise under which audible activity using the method of a train is used, because the state is using train noise both when a train is on the tracks and not on the tracks. Remember that. Amtrak is a sex offender in this regard as well, okay? It's 3:11 a.m., that's P.O.C. And I went through that recitation of facts and those are documented facts. And I'm providing the ongoing context that this is demon possession. I'm dealing with demons of the court system, demons of the police department, demons that are the people of the state, all right? Engaging in this demented system together. While the state is flying over my head repeatedly, over the building, the location at the building where I'm at the museum, all right? And molesting with directed light. So you got multiple shadows around me on the ground, okay? The state is molesting with directed light. That's what I'm showing you on the wall space where the state is aiming directed light, okay? They're monitoring. And the police were monitoring right now, talking about the alarm of the museum went off, and you can't sleep here. You gotta go. When he already knew this is a means for he's just coming to engage in harassment, all right? They're monitoring. And this is a demon that is severely hostile, as I'm documenting the entirety of that police department. When I say they're going to federal prison, that's exactly what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. All right? And I'm showing you, I am putting on display the fact that they're not just criminals. These are psychopaths. They belong in straitjackets. And engaging in such acts of terrorism, they're going to federal prison for that. All right? All of this is occurring under what is ongoing, which is federal stalking. And this is via police. That's unlawful under existing policy, and it shall be unlawful under that additional policy that I will enforce against that agency. It's 3:13 a.m. That's P.O.C. All right, it is currently 3:16 a.m., and so I just want to document, with regard to the context, this is federal stalking that the Ontario Police Department are engaging in. This is the absence of any warrant or reasonable suspicion. They're engaged in blatant stalking and repeated acts of kidnapping, which are obstruction of justice. And there is no form whereby it is anything other than that. They are engaging in using the system as a means of facilitating that kidnapping while federal stalking is underway. The substance of that threat, understand, not only is this an officer that has engaged in documented acts of monitoring, federal stalking, and kidnapping. Here's another plane. It's 3:17 a.m. at the museum. You have, and understand, I just showed in video, the fake moon is over me. Over the side of the museum where I'm laying, just like the state's fake sun is over the side of the museum where I am during the day, just like the state is flying directly over this side of the museum, all right? And you see the directed light. Okay, so you are listening to what is federal stalking. So anyway, the substance of that threat that the Ontario Police Department are waging, so I want to make sure I lay that out, okay? While they're engaging in federal stalking, indeed, understand that this is a threat to engage in another act of kidnapping because they don't have the actual law on their side. So this is another threat to kidnap again, while they're engaging in federal stalking, using what is their form for that authority that they don't actually have because they're in violation of the law, the fact that they are police officers, and using that form for their criminal activity. All right, this is the operation of the system. In reality, they do not have form. In the actual administration of the law, all right, where you are not acting above the law, you are looking at what is that public corruption in operation. And this is Jay Burnett waging a threat to kidnap while they're engaging in federal stalking. All right, that's plain activity, and then there's sirens. They listen to me recite all of that information. That's P.O.C. That's P.O.C. Sirens start and stop. That's AMR. And on the traffic cameras at Euclid and Holt Boulevard, you will see AMR sounding their sirens in relevant position, acting in concert with what is directed light. Understand the sirens equals the plane activity equals the Amtrak train activity. In directed light under the fake moon. All right, targeted to where I'm located. AMR is crossing path and on the traffic cameras at 3:18 a.m. proceeding south on Euclid Avenue. All right, that's P.O.C. And I am in directed light, multiple shadows as I'm walking under the shaded walkway of the museum. That's P.O.C. And I just want to document that's the ongoing waging of a threat by that agency that has not only engaged in repeated acts of kidnapping, but that is a threat because they're using the actual law as their form for kidnapping while they're engaging in federal stalking. That's the substance of that threat that he is waging. While he's engaged in monitoring, that's his audible activity in relevant position. He's stalking with light, that's a threat. He's wearing a police officer's uniform, that's a threat. He has engaged in kidnapping me before, that's a threat. He's physically attacked me before, this is a threat, all right? While the state is flying over my head in planes and helicopter, which I captured in video, All right, this is by the same agency that has engaged in kidnapping before. He represents that same threat. These are all the ways that they are engaging in that based on what he did. All right, and so you have that communication. Oh, you can't sleep here. You already know that I'm sleeping here. You're monitoring, and that is the communication of a threat by that police department. Understand that, and I want to document that. It's 3:20 a.m. That's P.O.C.
All right, Erica Lorraine Spencer here. I needed to provide some more analysis to what you witnessed, which was federal stalking by the Ontario Police Department. And you are witnessing an implied admission by the agency that's engaged in repeated acts of kidnapping and using their police uniforms and their positions as a means of terrorizing an American citizen that they're monitoring. And engaging in ongoing harassment and stalking. All right. So in the video that I captured, Officer J. Burnett, number 19993. Okay, that is 19993. The officer that engaged in kidnapping on May 4th, 2019, acting in concert with the people of the state, acting via Tracy Banks, who engaged in criminal summoning, false allegations, and then a kidnapping precipitates from that criminal activity. As I monitor inside of that quote-unquote private residence, this is how this officer is able to play back on his cell phone that argument that occurred between she and I inside of her apartment, number 51. All right, where I hear on his phone, on his cell phone, I hear my voice telling her very sternly that if she puts her hands on me, I'm going to hurt her. And so this officer is able to play back this argument while he's got me handcuffed in the back of his police vehicle on May 4th, 2019. This is the officer that was engaging in federal stalking. This is how he has this information on his phone. But even so, this ongoing environment that I am documenting and revealing what the people of the state of California are acting in concert with that entity that's monitoring, this whole environment has been ongoing. And it was in existence on May 4th when I was kidnapped while that officer and the Ontario Police Department together engaged in federal stalking. All right, so you are engaging in an ongoing act of kidnapping while you are breaking the law, engaging and monitoring an American citizen, and this is established. Okay, so you have what is this officer, which is the absence of coincidence as well, in addition to the ongoing environment that exists while he is there, using his uniform, all right, using his position as form for stalking, terrorism, and harassment. And he's creating light activity. You're looking at demon possession as he is engaging in those elements, by the way. He is literally telling you that he is demon possessed, all right? This is what the engagement in the elements are indicating. So you are looking at him using his flashlight whilst he's patrolling in relevant position. Directed light is all over the building. Let me be clear what you're looking at. Those very thick shadows you see on the face of the museum, that is directed light. That is showing what are the columns of the walkway, which is impossible. That's an impossible angle. That's trajected light along the columns such that it creates that light activity on the face of the museum. All right, that's directed light. That's what you saw with the people when I recorded that video, and they're acting like they're so fascinated with the museum and they're just walking up to look at the museum. They're stalking, they're monitoring, and you're seeing that impossible light. The impossible placement of the shadow of those columns on the face of that museum, that's what you're looking at. They're in directed light, acting like they're fascinated with the museum. Those are psychopaths. They're stalking. That's and you have the Ontario Police engaging in the same method, form for federal stalking. What's their form? Oh, their form is oh, you can't sleep here, and we're here for, no, let's do it in order. The order was, first he's stating, oh, the alarm went off. Did you hear the alarm? No. Is my response. And no, I didn't hear alarm. Are you the one that tried to break? No, I did not try to break in. This is audible activity. They already know the answer to this question. This is a stalker in a police uniform. But this is the brevity of the conversation, of the exchange. And then he goes into the real reason why he's there, to communicate a threat, all right, which is impliedly communicated by virtue of the identity of a police officer engaging in federal stalking and repeated acts of kidnapping. In addition, he is stating, oh, okay, well, you can't sleep here. And I asked him his name. He says Burnett. Excuse me. And then he walks away. And this is when I start the video. And he's patrolling around, walking on the grounds in directed light and creating light activity with his flashlight. All right. And what do you hear him say? Pay attention to what you hear him say. This man already knows who I am. Okay. He says, you can't sleep here, Spencer. We never talked about who I am. He didn't ask me my name. There was no inquiry. He came to engage in personally waging a threat and just telling me to get off the grounds and stop and not sleep there. So in other words, while he's engaging in federal stalking, using his position as forum to communicate that threat and to use the actual law as his veil of authority, which he doesn't have while he's a criminal. Okay, but this is what they're doing, and this is the same thing with the court system, the same thing with the sheriff's department. All right, but this is what he's doing, and that is a threat by the police that is engaging in federal stalking. But what I want to focus on, and what you will hear for your own, and with your own ears and see with your own eyes, you're seeing him monitor. You're seeing him engaging in the communication of a threat, engaging in terrorism of an American citizen that he's monitoring, and you are hearing him admit that he knows exactly who I am after we did not exchange any of that. It literally was the alarm went off. Did you hear the alarm? Did you cause the alarm to go off? I'm asleep. He woke me up. Okay. And then you can't sleep here, and he walks away. Okay. He knows my name. He already knows who I am. He walks with the flashlight while he's monitoring me, talking about "you can't sleep here, Spencer." And that's what I want you to listen to in that video. That is Jay Burnett. He knows exactly who I am, but this is not different. Every other Ontario police officer, including these third parties that are monitoring with the state, know exactly who I am. This is why the environment is maintained, by the way. Everything about the environment is telling you the reality, while these psychopaths are conducting themselves as though it doesn't exist. All right. And that is an admission by that agency that has engaged in repeated acts of kidnapping. I want to be clear. This police officer stating my name and telling me that I cannot sleep here. This is an admission, an inadvertent admission, regardless of the state's claim that it's not an admission. Oh yeah, I know who she is because she's such a problem, and the entire police department knows who she is because she's. This is what Patty was stating. Patty was stating as her audible activity under the fake sun on June 18th, when she was kidnapping me with Deputy J. Arnold, number 19994. At least that was what was bearing on his shirt. Okay, I do not put it above them to put a fake name and put a fake badge number on themselves. But this man's number, very similar to Jay Burnett, okay? Number 19993. His name was Jay Arnold, number 19994. I have documented this sort of weird conduct with identities. Stalkers using my name. Oh, my name is Erica, while they're engaging in monitoring, all right? Using the same officers, using very highly similar badge numbers as they know that I have documented, all right? That's not a coincidence. That's another pattern. But aside from that, you have what is Jay Burnett that is citing my name, and S. Patty's lying, stating, oh, so many officers, she's been arrested so many times at the museum, and that's not true. First of all, they're monitoring, and they know exactly where I'm at, and I have tons of videos on the Ontario Police Department. We're not engaging in conversation. I'm documenting them on video, and then they're just engaging in ongoing form like the people do, acting like they're oblivious to my presence. They don't have any actual right or reason to approach me because I'm using my cell phone. So they engage in, for example, like I did with the, what do you call it when they're, excuse me, I documented them on the side of the museum where they were doing the sobriety test for the people of the state, and the exact same elements were present, the exact same hallmarks of stalking by helicopter and airplane, while the police department, the Ontario Police Department, were creating substantial light activity, engaging in the demonic behavioral pattern of stalking with activity, using their position, using their badges, using their uniforms as that outward guise, that the superficial veil behind which federal stalking was underway. And that's what I captured, all right? Again, there's no conversation with who I am, and I'm capturing criminal activity by the Ontario Police Department. I don't know them personally, but they know exactly who I am, and they're monitoring, all right? You have S. Patty that is stating as her audible activity on June 18th that I have been arrested so many times by the Ontario Police Department, and that's also a lie. She personally engaged in kidnapping in July of 2020 and did so stating that she saw me from Holt Boulevard. I'm sorry, from Euclid Avenue. She saw me from Euclid Avenue, and this is why she came and approached me and engaged in kidnapping while she's monitoring under the fake sun, kidnapped me to the Ontario Police Department, and I've already shown you what's going on there. The state's fake sun is over that police department while they transported me there. That was kidnapping at the end, and that was by the same officer who kidnapped me again on June 18th, 2021, all right, that kidnapping that I was just released from. These officers are not ignorant of my identity. The ongoing federal stalking that I am documenting is already establishing that. I am pointing out what his audible activity is last night while he was using light activity of his flashlight and engaging in terrorism of one whom he is monitoring, and that is why he knows my name, okay? This is the detail that I want you to pay attention to, you'll see in the video. This officer that I encountered on May 4, 2019, we did not ever become friends. We did not ever engage in any exchange or conversation. And the different times that I documented him, for example, at Starbucks, 706 West Holt Boulevard, where the state's fake son is over that venue while I'm there. The state is stalking by plane and helicopter. The state is stalking by Ontario police who are keeping relevant position, not only on camera, on my camera and on the surveillance cameras in that venue, but I also documented them myself on my podcast and with my own camera while they were stalking both inside of that venue and outside via traffic, okay? While they were stalking with activity. Not just them, it's also AMR ambulance and the fire department, but I'm focusing on the police department right now. I have not spoken with him. So when I documented him the first time, just like I documented last night because he came, so that was the opportunity to go in depth with his criminal activity, and he is acting on behalf of the Ontario Police Department that is plagued with the exact same demon possession, all right? These are psychopaths wearing police uniforms. It is not isolated to just him, and it is that which is speaking to the public corruption that the police department is engaging in, all right? That represents the state, all right? So anyway, this particular officer documented on May 4th when he kidnapped me, all right? He engaged in monitoring again at Starbucks 706 West Holt the very first time. And I remember it because it was the first time that I went to that Starbucks at 706 West Holt. I remember it because this officer kidnapped me. And so I found it is not a coincidence that I'm engaged in ongoing documentation. And this same officer that had no right to arrest me arrives at this Starbucks. So he arrives at the Starbucks and I documented it. We did not talk. We did not have conversation. And you will see in my video where I documented him an additional time. I'm getting him while he's in his vehicle and he is reversing. That is Jay Burnett, officer number 19993. You see, we are not conversing. How does he know my name? Okay. I'm talking about tonight. Overnight, he's saying my name, telling me I cannot sleep there. We have not engaged in repeated conversations and exchanges such that I know his name because he's engaged in criminal activity, which I have specifically documented. He knows my name because he's engaged in federal stalking, whereas he would ordinarily submit that he was just engaged in the administration of his duties, doing his job, all right, and he doesn't know me personally, and that is not the case. He knows exactly who I am, and that is why he stated my name. You will see in the video that I documented at 706 West Holt Starbucks, where we are not talking, and there was no exchange before or after that video. He was monitoring and he was communicating a threat in concert with Starbucks that was hostile to my documentation as I consistently documented them at that venue. All right, and under the fake sun, and there was no conversation there, all right? He's rolling up his window, acting as though he's oblivious to my presence, acting as though he is unconcerned with who I am, right? Doesn't know who I am, okay? Officer Jay Burnett documented at that Starbucks multiple times, all right? And this is the same one that kidnapped me. So you're talking about a 2021, and I have not ran into this particular officer essentially since I've ran into his partner, Sequoia, which I've also documented on my podcast and in pictures, all right? For example, at the same exact Starbucks, 706 West Holt. That is, by the way, the people engaging in terrorism and threatening and harassment in concert with the state while it is aware that you're documenting it. That's how that's analyzed, and that's the reality. This is how demons behave, just giving you context of what they are actually doing while federal stalking is underway. So anyway, this officer, again, have not seen him, all right, in a prolonged period of time, and he is stating my name while he's engaged in federal stalking. He's engaging in the elements right in your face. And it is intentional, and it is beyond coincidence that he is the same officer that is arriving. But like I said, even if it was an officer that I had not personally encountered before, it is the exact same system and operation. It is an intent to specifically threaten, especially as I am identifying officers of the Ontario Police Department by name, and I am publishing it on my social media platforms. And this demon-possessed agency is very, very furious about that. And so they're not just engaging in harassment and threatening. They want to use an officer that has physically engaged in kidnapping and physically attacking me. That is the significance of Jay Burnett arriving last night. And Jay Burnett stated my name after I have not seen him in a very prolonged period amount of time. You're talking about over a year and a half. 2019, I captured that video of him, and I have not specifically documented that I can even recall right now. I have not specifically documented encountering him because I would specifically document it. All right, because it's within the pattern of conduct, and it is very relevant to what is ongoing by that police department as I remain in the city of Ontario. Again, it's not limited to Ontario. If I go to LA, LAPD is engaged in federal stalking, as I have already documented, at the courthouses, the police departments, the sheriff's departments. I've already documented it. Same fake sun over me as I'm taking the metro link to Los Angeles County, okay? Same fake sun over me as I'm sitting at the intersection of Broadway and College in Los Angeles. By the way, at 6 in the evening, where the state's fake sun is remaining over me, where I'm at the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, okay? Where the state's fake sun is over me both in the morning and in the evening, 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:44, let's be exact, and 4 o'clock in the evening when I return to the Ontario Police Department, but yet it's over my head at Broadway and College, right there as I clearly captured in video, all right? This is a state system, and the police department happens to be Ontario because I'm in the city of Ontario. All right, so the pattern of conduct is already established. There is no deviating from it. There is no way to contradict it, and it is not based on your identity. You're looking at what is public corruption, and I'm showing you how each and every facet of society is engaging in it, documenting third parties, documenting the state, engaging in this, which is not only criminal, it is entirely demented, it is psychotic. These are demon-possessed individuals acting collectively to monitor an American citizen. All right, so I want to be clear. My point in bringing this up is because you need to pay attention to that. Officer Burnett is there to wage a personalized threat, engaging in terrorism while he is monitoring me visibly on camera for you to see his demon possession, because that's what he's telling you. That's what he's telling you by his outward conduct, while he's engaging in an intentional threat with the intent to terrorize, stating my name. He knows exactly who I am. Spencer, you can't sleep here. All right, that's P.O.C.
All right, it is Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 still, and it's currently 4:13 a.m. I want to document the P.O.C. As I experienced it at approximately 4:08 a.m. in the passenger seat of Tracy Banks' vehicle. She is monitoring with the state. She's monitoring with the people of the state while I'm in the car, and she's monitoring her own daughter. And so anyway, I'm in vehicle license 4WON 432. She is proceeding on G Street, G as in goat. So she is driving east on G Street, and the Ontario Police Department is stalking in the parking lot of the 7-Eleven located at 636 North Vine Avenue. They are parked at the farthest parking space of the parking lot adjacent to G Street. Right, and so this is serving for crossing a path as Tracy Banks drives past, and the Ontario Police Department vehicle is clearly present. Not only is this federal stalking, understand this is a communication of a threat while they're monitoring together, okay? And I'm in her vehicle. This is crossing a path, and understand the state is always directing light, and light is ongoing. All right, so, and the state is stalking with its fake moon as well. I just want to be clear. This ongoing environment is being maintained at nightfall. That is also the communication of a threat when you are witnessing the police that are everywhere that you are, having engaged in documented acts of kidnapping as well. And this is shared by the people. Tracy Banks is driving me around and monitoring or I'm just telling you what you are analyzing and what the ordinary target individual is experiencing, and it is designed to terrorize. All right, so this is federal stalking, this is terrorizing an American citizen, and this is ongoing harassment by psychopaths. These are demons that I'm dealing with, okay? So you have driving me in the car, the Ontario Police Department in the farthest parking spot adjacent to G Street. The vehicle, I clearly see it. I'm on the passenger side. This is crossing a path. At the same time, light activity is being provided in relevant position on Vine Street. Utility vehicles are sitting in the center of Vine Street, about maybe 15 to 20 feet away from the entrance of the Woodside Senior Apartment gate, where Tracy Banks drives there to enter into the gate, just to drive through. So what she's doing is patrolling. She drives past the Ontario Police vehicle. So I'm just going to speak of it as 7-Eleven, because that's a facilitating venue, and understand 7-Eleven is monitoring as well. What the state is doing is speaking to what the people of the state and everyone in relevant position is doing. As these third parties are driving by on G Street right now, I'm sitting in her car. Directed light is being aimed inside of the car. All right, this is called patrolling. This is exactly what I was documenting while I was inside of my car at Vine and G Street before it was stolen by Ontario Police. Exactly what I was documenting inside of my car. Inside of Tracy Banks's car at Fern and G Street. This is at 630 where it was remained. All right, this is the exact same pattern of conduct. That's what's ongoing right now. So anyway, while I'm in the vehicle and you have crossing a path, and so what Tracy Banks does is she crosses paths. She drives past 7-Eleven. She's driving east on G Street. She drives toward what is Fern. Okay, she drives toward G Street. She passes Vine. She goes toward Fern. She turns onto Fern, makes a U-turn, and goes, and I understand the U-turn. This is patrolling. I'm in the vehicle. So patrolling is while third parties and the state are stationary, and I am the one that's in motion in the vehicle. Okay. And by the way, Tracy Banks is in relevant position in the vehicle. So this is P.O.C. All right. She crosses path with the police. Light activity is on Vine Street. Okay. So we have crossed the flashing lights of the vehicles in the middle of Vine Street. Ontario police are on my opposite side at the 7-Eleven. She drives past the police. She makes a U-turn. She drives past again. This is patrolling. All right. She is, then she turns onto Vine Street, driving toward the flashing lights on those vehicles, those utility vehicles that are sitting in the middle of Vine Street, while she approaches them. And understand light activity on her vehicle as well while she's driving, using her brake lights, and reversing and whatnot. So she goes and drives enters into the gates of Woodside Senior, drives through the complex to get to the opposite side. So she drives through and exits on the opposite side. This is patrolling. We literally just went in a circle. Drives past, makes a U-turn, drives past again, drives through Woodside Senior, and on the Ontario Police vehicle is then gone as she's exiting Woodside Senior. That was serving patrolling while the Ontario Police were monitoring and acting in concert with the people who were providing light activity, flashing of light using vehicles, doing so. This light activity is a means of monitoring. This is also demonic while they're engaging in this group conduct together. It's 4:18 a.m. And I just wanted to make sure I document that incident. It's P.O.C. Okay, ongoing directed light inside of the vehicle, moving about the vehicle as third parties are crossing path at the same time. And this is directed light. This is the state that's monitoring while I'm inside of the vehicle of Tracy Banks. And so this is, I just want to be clear, I've documented this before, all right? So I've literally documented the state engaging in federal stalking in every type of venue that you can fathom, including the state facilitating venue while I'm kidnapped in the state's jails, all right? At the courthouses, all right? At the police stations, right? Even in their vehicles. The state's pattern of conduct is underway. And this is showing that it does not matter where you are and it does not matter who it is. The pattern of conduct is the pattern of conduct, and it is ceaselessly underway. And this is speaking to the threat that the ordinary targeted individual is subject to by a government that is monitoring them. And so while I'm inside of the vehicle, and I have documented it being specifically at 630 North Fern Avenue when I was inside of the vehicle on Fern and G Street. And you have what was the moving light that I would document as third parties were patrolling, because that's what they were doing. They were stalking and monitoring me while I was inside of the vehicle, which they very well knew. The state's fake sun over during the day over that car while I'm in there, and then remaining over me as I move or go to any place. And in addition, you have at nightfall, the state was aiming directed light inside of that vehicle, which is what I was, documenting the movement of this directed light. And it also occurs with simultaneity to third parties that happen to be driving by. Okay, this is the absence of any form. This is directed light, and this is coinciding presence of the people who are also stalking with activity via the form of traffic. So they happen to be driving by at the same time that I make any sudden move. They happen to engage in parking their car or getting in or out of their car, pursuant to the audible activity that is surrounding me inside of that car, with simultaneity to whatever it is that I am doing. This was the same demonic behavioral pattern by the people as I remained inside of the vehicle at Fern and G Street. And I just want to be clear, that's what is ongoing. And this is the same exact conduct that I have already documented while I was subject to federal stalking, living inside of both my vehicle and the vehicle of the third party Tracy Banks while it was parked in front of 630 North Fern Avenue. So I just want you to recall that this is providing more context. This is what I've been documenting for years. This is the same directed light conduct that I document on the sidewalk as the people of the state are driving by while the fake sun is over me. And at nightfall, the light source and the directed light is all over me, centered where I am. And the state is engaging in ongoing stalking with the people. This is the ongoing environment. This is the ongoing pattern of conduct. All right. This is the tethering of all of that conduct as it works together. It is currently 4:29 a.m. and that is the P.O.C. The state is currently amplifying plane activity. All right, it is currently 4:52 a.m. I just want to document, this is documentation of the people of the state of California engaging in the demonic pacing conduct. Pacing, this is the entity as it acts as a group to repeatedly cross path over and over and over and over again pursuant to maintenance of presence and pursuant to any movements and activity that I'm engaging in. This is the stalking with activity conduct while directed light is maintained, acting in concert with their joint presence, which is the provision of form that does not exist. This is the operation of the system while the state is stalking via aircraft and stalking with light, the directed light, manifesting all over my body. So this is a sexual violence that they're engaging in while they are pacing back and forth in vehicles and on bike. You even have the people using a bike, crossing path, using a spotlight as a light activity while he rides past on a bike in relevant position, pacing with the vehicles that are driving back and forth. Understand this is the entity, this is the same actor, acting through a different face, and it is the same actor pacing back and forth. And directed light is all over the place, including all over my body. This is this entity touching while they are stalking. And you have what is directed light all over the Woodside Senior Apartment building while they're supposedly driving by. Those are not headlights, that's the state's directed light. You have what are, while I'm standing in front of the residence at the intersection of Fern and G Street, the large white house. It looks like a haunted house to me. And from, what is that, Vine and G Street, while they are facing east, approaching, coming toward G Street, driving down the street while they're at the stop sign, their headlights so vibrant that they're molesting me from the stop sign. Okay, that's the state's directed light. And this is the coinciding presence of the people as they act in concert. You have what is their headlights moving all about on the inside of the car. All right, that's the state's directed light. They're acting in concert together. This is the demonic pacing as they're just driving back and forth. And they, meaning it's occurring through different faces, and it's the same actor. It is the entity. It's one. This is the state that's pacing back and forth, acting via the people in concert with the state's directed light, which is maintained here stationary over the environment, but also as they are crossing path, they are supposed to be the form under which the directed light is moving all over the place, including all over my body. So I want to document that. This is going toward the entity that I've already heavily documented, engaging in this ongoing stalking conduct as I was still as I remain inside of the vehicle and as I stand outside. And the state is engaging in aiming directed light, which remains and in the environment. So this is, it's 4:54 a.m. This is not only relevant to what is federal stalking, this is that demonic conduct, all right? This is terrorism by the people. The people represent the state, okay? This is how the entity is engaging in that conduct. And this is that ongoing intentional maintenance of presence while they are engaging in highly demented stalking conduct. It is 4:55 a.m. and that is the P.O.C. Alrighty, on video I did capture the state's stalking with light source as I traveled to the same venue that I traveled to yesterday. And I am ahead of schedule, meaning I arrived yesterday at around 9, or a little after 9. And you have what is the state's fake sun, which is in a direct alignment, which is over me at the museum, a third-party facilitating venue. And you have what is the state's fake sun as I capture it and I travel north of Euclid Avenue, and it is in alignment to me while I'm at that venue. So right now it is 8:29 a.m. and as I go at 8 a.m. leaving the venue, which is the venue, being inside of the vehicle and across the street from 408 West G Street where the state was aiming its light source inside of the windshield of the car, I proceed to walk what is east on G Street, and the state is keeping its light source in direct alignment with me, and I just documented walking up the same street, Euclid Avenue, all right, and walking in the opposite direction at the same time when I am remaining at the intersection 24 hours ago while I am at the intersection of Euclid and Holt Boulevard at 150 East Holt Boulevard, and the state's fake sun is in alignment with me at that location, and you are comparing with what you are seeing with your own eyes, the state keeping its fake sun, that's a light source, in direct alignment with me while I'm on the opposite side, meaning the opposite direction. I am north of that location 24 hours ago, and the state is keeping its light source in direct alignment with me, in addition to keeping it in that same direct alignment, keeping it centered, okay, keeping it in direct align with me as I proceed to walk in the opposite direction on the same street, headed toward the same exact venue. And this is, as I'm walking today, walking north to the Starbucks, and yesterday I was walking, I'm walking south to the Starbucks, and yesterday I was walking north to this same venue, okay, and that's what I just captured on video. As I enter inside, I do communicate with the third parties that work here Kirby, and the manager, she's being introduced as a manager. Her name is Ocean. She is monitoring in concert with the rest of them. Understand that this is Starbucks facilitating federal stalking and harassment while they smile with their faces, all right, and greet you. It's audible activity in the state's light, and while they do so, impossible light activity flashing all along the walls behind them, all right? And let me be clear, the state's fake sun, in the position of that, is no explanation for that impossible light activity to appear. And secondly, if the actual sun was over the venue, as opposed to the state's fake sun, which is beside the venue, aiming light horizontally through the window spaces, all right, that is not going to result either. The state's fake sun is the direct evidence against Starbucks that's engaging in federal stalking, and that audible activity they are creating with a smile on their face is a threat to my life while they're engaging in a monitoring conduct in concert with the patrons. So I want to document that. That's what I'm experiencing while you see me on camera inside of the venue getting a cup of ice from them. That manager's name, again, her name is Ocean. And again, they are third parties who know that they're being documented. And so I am introduced to people who claim that they work here, who claim that they have whatever position. And it really does not matter. This is why the ordinary target individual is not assigned with some unrealistic task of trying to figure out what train is actually on what train track, right? If you can identify what the state is doing, you do it to the best of your ability. The entity that is monitoring is in no way going to escape prosecution under any circumstances such as that, all right? And the ordinary target individual is not going to be assigned with the duty of trying to figure out who's actually driving or who actually owns the truck. It's got an Amazon Prime logo on it, which you can readily identify, but I don't know if that's really, no, you're not going to be assigned with that, all right? So any commercial brand that's associated with this crime that is being committed by a government is going to be prosecuted, period, all right? And this is to disincentivize what the state is doing, monitoring through the people, all right, and intentionally posing a threat. And so this is what is occurring while I'm inside of Starbucks, and I want to document that. The state's fake sun is directly outside, and it is 8:33 a.m. after following me from what it was 408 West G Street, okay? And the state's fake sun, as I captured, and like I stated in the video, being at the intersection with, this is what the state would argue. Even if you, let me argue all of the above. The state's fake sun is not directly over 408 West G Street. It's not directly over the G Street at the intersection of Fern and G, okay? And that's clearly seen in my video as well. I'm not aiming my phone directly above my head inside of the vehicle while I'm at the windshield. The state is acting as though the sun is in some position of quote unquote rising, and so it's not in that same position of being squarely over my head, yet it is maintaining that same square position in straight line. That's alignment with me, and this is next to being directly above my head. The state is aiming its fake sun, all right, in direct alignment with the vehicle, and it is, as I move east on G Street, the state is moving its light source east to keep that line with me, okay? And this is the abysmal failure at acting like its light source is in some position of rising like the sun in the morning, being in the middle of the sky like the sun in the afternoon, setting like the sun in the evening, while it is remaining over the same exact building, while it is remaining in that same central location above my head, while it is remaining in direct alignment with me while I remain or travel to any other location. This is what I'm capturing in video, and this is what the state is doing with the light source while I'm at G Street, okay? So this is why you have, and this is what I'm saying I'm going to argue. I'll argue it because it's absolutely ridiculous. It's patently absurd. This is plain stalking with light, and this stalking with light is demonic, and it is revealing the circumstance of every single last person that is engaging in the system, and every single last one of them are engaging in the system. So you're talking about rampant demon possession, okay? So, which is the cause of what is public corruption as I am exposing it. So with regard to the state's light source, the actual sun is also not over the intersection of G Street and Euclid Avenue. And while I'm inside of the vehicle across from 408 G Street, if that was actually the sun from 408 West G Street, it would not be squarely as it is through the passenger side of the windshield of the vehicle while I'm inside. This is the same exact precise posturing of this light where I am, okay? While engaging in trying to act like, oh, it's at a distance because the sun is rising. No, you're looking at where it is relative to me. That same relevant positioning conduct is ongoing. And the same surrounding directed light conduct is ongoing. The same sensational activity and stalking with activity conduct is ongoing. And that same impossibility of the documented conduct with this light source remains in existence. Okay? So it is north of where it was captured yesterday at the museum, directly above the building of that museum, in direct alignment with me as I'm standing in the center of the museum property. Where is it? It's in the center, over the center of the museum property. as I stand in the center. As I am to the south side, it is over the south side of the museum property. As I leave that property and I proceed to walk north off of the property, you see the state's fake sun moving north, okay? And I have captured today as it is moving south, maintaining that same direct alignment with me. This is not the circumstance of the people of the state of California. 408 West G Street is not seen in alignment with the state's fake sun, which is in direct alignment with me inside of this venue of 507 Euclid Avenue. This is the direct evidence against every single last third party that is patrolling in relevant position, that is living in relevant position, that is working in relevant position, that is buying a coffee drink in relevant position, that's emptying the garbage in relevant position, doing anything that you can fathom under the fake sun in relevant position, all right? This is revealing what is criminal, and it is absolutely demonic, all right? It is currently 8:36 a.m. And again, ahead of schedule, I am at the Starbucks, which I'm going to go ahead and capture video of. I am at the Starbucks, and as they patrol, enter, and by they, I mean third parties, and these are demon-possessed actors who are intentionally acting with the state, that is patrolling with light as they open and close the door. That's an ongoing assault. That's terrorism by the people of the state, who I have already heavily documented. They are one entity acting together, while, by the way, the psychopath is monitoring the documentation as it is gathered and published against it. All right, and that's what they're doing while you're hearing me speaking. They're monitoring, and that's impossible light activity inside the building, just like I showed yesterday. This is also what you have at the ahead of schedule, 8:37 a.m. You have what is my placement south of this location, and contrary to that, you have the state's fake sun, which is nowhere near this position at the same time 24 hours ago, all right, because I was not here yet. So this is P.O.C, and I'm dealing with demons. All right, I did capture in video so that you can see with your own eyes, and the timestamp. This is everything that you're looking at and you are assessing when you're understanding what I am revealing about what the state is doing. This is relevant to federal stalking, but this is revealing something that is much deeper. This is a secret amongst a people and a government, and it is entirely demented stalking conduct, which is demonic at its root, okay? And this is also what I captured with what I'm speaking to with the light activity as they are intentionally patrolling in and out of the entrance. Understand that this door was not used as that means yesterday. It was the other door, and so now today they're using this entrance where the state's fake sun is in the same location, all right, same position, but you have what is now the creation of a gold beam of long light that is streaming as the door is opening and closing, which is absolutely impossible. This is not light activity that is occurring as you're opening and closing the door. This is directed light, and the fact of its absence yesterday versus today is speaking to also the fact that it is directed light. But I don't even have to argue that. I have already long established the existence of directed light, helping you understand what directed light is, the light activity that the people of the state remain under, and the circumstances that they are under while they are engaging in outward form, which is non-existent when you're prosecuting federal stalking. You're focusing on the elements because you are dealing with demon-possessed individuals who rely on the outward appearance of what they're doing as the guise under which criminal activity is occurring, okay? You're dealing with demonic activity. That's what that is. It's called malice. So this is, it's 8:40 a.m. and I just want to speak to that, and I did document the third-party light displays that are in front of the property, but understand that's just a sample. This is going toward the entire entity that's engaged in ongoing terrorism of an American citizen. That is P.O.C. All right, 8:41, I just want to go ahead and document because I happen to capture this demon's face on video. It's the female with the jacket, striped jacket on with pants, blue pants on, and she's got a short little ponytail. This is a very disturbed individual. She is stalking with activity as I move inside of the venue. She's not acting alone, but she's being the most prominent in her conduct, in her stalking conduct, and it is revealing, it's making manifest what her issue is, which is demon possession, and she's acting in concert with the light circumstances that the state has created. And so as I move from the table and I go toward the trash can, stalking with activity, she immediately runs past, and she does this in order to not only engage in relevant positioning, but light activity. As she does so, the state is creating that beam of light as she's opening up and closing the door and running out. And she does it rapidly at the moment that I'm getting up to go to the trash can, okay? I just want to give an example, and I want to use her as an example because she's not only on the surveillance cameras, everyone is, but she is seen, and I am referencing the camera as she's doing it. You're witnessing stalking with activity conduct. You're witnessing demon possession, all right? And that's P.O.C. That's 8:42, and I did capture actually her face on my camera, and I'm showing you what is the intentional conduct of the people of the state. They're not ignorant of this light activity that surrounds them, that is surrounding me, okay? They're not ignorant of it. They act pursuant to what I am doing in order to stalk with activity while the state is maintaining the environment conducive to ongoing monitoring. Right? That in and of itself is indicative of demon possession. It's group conduct, all right? That's P.O.C. It's 8:42 a.m.
It is currently 9:55 a.m. My apologies, one second. Okay, I did just take a video in order to capture the light activity inside of the venue of 507 Euclid Avenue. It's 9:58 a.m. And you are seeing what is the layered light, layers of light activity. So there's stationary light, which is reaching into the depths of the Starbucks and the state's fake sun, as I captured, which is remaining stationary over the Starbucks, all right? And again, it's not over the Starbucks, it's in alignment with me beside the Starbucks, essentially, and as the state is creating light by aiming light horizontally. Again, the sun that is over the structure, over any structure, is not going to create what the state engages in, which is directed light reaching into the depths of any location. This is directed light, that's a hallmark, okay? And in addition to that, you have what is layered directed activity, the stationary light, and then in addition to that, as they patrol in and out of the venue, you have this dynamic light. You'll see the golden rods of light, and those are reaching across the floor, farther than the stationary directed light, as they are entering and exiting. You're witnessing demonic activity as they are outwardly conducting themselves as though everything is normal, monitoring's not ongoing, I'm not stalking you with activity, I'm not stalking you with life. These are psychopaths, okay? And it's not funny at all, but it's so pathetic to me. I am just thoroughly exposing it, okay? It is demonic conduct. These are psychopaths that engage in that, targeting an American citizen, targeting an individual. And again, being an American citizen is only context. I just happen to be in the United States. I just happen to be in California, all right? This is a government system, and this is how an entity monitors someone. And it does not do it by itself. It's doing it with the very people of the state, all right? It is 10 a.m. And what I was also speaking to, the other method of light activity, it's flashing light as though it's a like they're taking photos, and not just photos with a little disposable camera, like a photo shoot, okay? Flashing of light all over the place, while again they are outwardly conducting themselves as though everything is just like it's not happening, all right? They do the same thing with helicopters, like nobody sees and hears the helicopters, but you see my hundreds of videos, and it is definitely occurring. Those are the demon possessed that are monitoring together with the state, all right? And that's a third party role, and I have stripped them of all form. I'm showing them as the psychopaths that they are. Psychopath is the term of art for what is demon possession, okay? It is 10 a.m. and that is the ongoing terrorism of Starbucks, the ongoing terrorism of the people of the state. As I remain subject to that, I just want to make sure that I'm notating it. It's 10:01 a.m. and so the last note I took, I believe, was at 8:41 a.m. and that is ongoing while I'm using my communication device. It's P.O.C. All right, it is currently 11:59 p.m. I want to document Starbucks as the sex offender that it is. Everyone on surveillance cameras right now is seen, and I want to be clear, I came out of the restroom. The state is amplifying creating both amplified and artificial activity. The employees, including Ocean, identifying herself as a manager, and every single last one of them that are in relevant position under the state's fake sun and in directed light, entering and exiting and sitting outside of the venue, they're engaged in sexual violence. This is the people acting in concert with Starbucks. That is a sex offender, okay? I want to be clear. I want to document that. And the state's fake sun remains over the venue, as I've already documented. So this is the ongoing elements while they're engaging in sexual violence of monitoring someone inside of a private space while their genitalia is exposed. License plate 5LIU679, stopping at the exit of the driveway. That's for stalking with light conduct. The line is lining up around the Starbucks 7LCX211, 5WMY460, 5ZWH931, 7VXA B43, all right, 7UIH984. All right, these are the ones that are in relevant position. They were monitoring while I'm inside of the bathroom, and the state is creating amplified audible activity, and the state's fake sun is over the venue, and as I walk in the parking lot to get these license plates, the state's fake sun is remaining over my head as I'm moving around. 8WNP749, sex offender. 8UWL985, sex offender. 8TUG786, sex offender. 8VDJ892, sex offender, and it is confirmed by the helicopter that is now flying over. 5SSV506 is indeed a sex offender. 7NPL384, sex offender. 8BNX796, sex offender.
7ZTZ646, 8VZA357, sex offenders. 7BNG587, 7GPY521, sex offender. 7MPN934, sex offender. VO13MO, sex offender. 7PMS660, sex offender. HNT8682, which is some different looking kind of, some sort of, guess what? They're a sex offender. 5YYE957, sex offender. Jesus has nothing to do with sexual violence and federal stalking. It's entirely satanic. You can have a Jesus sticker on your car all you want. So while I am getting these license plates, understand the state's fake sun is no longer over the entrance of the Starbucks as I capture in video. And by the way, it's 12 p.m., okay? So this is the ongoing context. And the state is engaging in creating audible activity. This is the sexually motivated, perverted activity that the entity engages in. And these psychopaths are sex offenders sitting in the drive-thru. And what I'm letting you know what they're doing is they're monitoring me while my genitalia is exposed in the bathroom. That's the reality of what they're doing. And that's why the state was flying over right now at the same time in a helicopter as I'm reading their license plates, because they are indeed sex offenders. 7LBY062, 7LCX211, sex offender. 7XEP774, sex offender. Another sex offender is coming, maintaining presence as I'm moving around in the parking lot. 4YKK121, sex offender. All right, and they are all on camera in the surveillance cameras inside of that venue. And while you are looking at them, walking around, talking, sweeping, looking like they're cleaning, ongoing amplified activity through the walls of the bathroom, listening to me while my panties are down, my genitalia is exposed, I'm engaged in a private activity, and they are all listening to it at the same time. This is why the state is aiming directed light, which they woefully displayed, showing the demon-possessed perverts that they are. All right, there's another plane flying next to me, 7CTF044. Is a sex offender, the same entity that was monitoring while my panties were down 4 minutes ago. It does not change. It's the same criminal act. This third party is a sex offender, license plate 8EOH706, likes to get their kicks by engaging in demonic conduct that is sexually motivated and demented. And this is the government that's listening to you drop your panties, listening to you use the restroom, acting through license plate 7ANV429. That's why the helicopter is flying over, because 7DLJ496 is a sex offender and is monitoring with a minor child while the helicopter is over her car. All right? There is no form. Starbucks is a sex offender. Let me get this. It is 12:03 p.m. That is helicopter. Alrighty, it is 12:06 p.m. You have City of Ontario, again, the same stalker at the end of the same street, E Street, while the state is patrolling in airplanes. That's Amazon Prime. In my video, I was capturing what was helicopter over my head, fake sun over me at the drive-through of the parking lot of Starbucks after it was over me at the entrance. That is the fake sun moving in real time. City of Ontario engaging in concerted conduct with the helicopter with the planes that are patrolling over the storefronts of Euclid Avenue. Unicare Community Health Center, these storefronts that are along, this is where the state is flying in relevant position beside me, helicopter flying all around the Stater Brothers and over, Starbucks, excuse me, and over my head, wrong venue. Helicopter activity at Stater Brothers as well, but right now I'm at Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. And that is also the absence of a coincidence, the ongoing confirmation, even though I've already established it. I have unilaterally established it, but the presence of the helicopter as I'm documenting sex offenders that are monitoring someone with their panties down and intentionally engaging in the criminal elements under a fake sun, that is a very violent sex offender, all right? These are the psychopaths. The state is amplifying the sound of traffic in the bathroom while my panties are down, okay? The state is engaging in amplifying the sound of what sounds supposed to be pipes or something you're hearing in the bathroom. That's audible activity. And doing so with simultaneity to what I'm doing, which is an unrecognized new move. So as I'm bending down, digging into a bag, you're hearing what is the ongoing artificial noise, 7ZTZ646. That's the same pattern of conduct, 8LDY. 092. That is P.O.C. Okay, I wanted to make sure I identify sex offenders. Not only is it readily identifiable, it is Starbucks. Okay, but that's not sufficient. I want to get the people in their vehicles because they're sex offenders surrounding the drive-through. All of them monitoring together. All of them monitoring together. And this is the thing about it, when you're looking at demonic activity, they're all engaging in sexual violence. While you're seeing on surveillance camera, you're just seeing them sitting in their car. This is demon possession. That which you cannot see. I'm providing that context to the system that is in operation, and they are acting in concert with the government that's maintaining the environment. So they have the convenience of sitting in a drive-through in relevant position under a fake sun where everything is amplified, and they're able to monitor someone with their panties down in the bathroom. That's a sex offender. That's P.O.C. 507 North Euclid Avenue. It is 12:08 p.m.
It is license BNS 1641. It's currently 3:27 p.m. I'm documenting, I just captured on video what is the state's fake sun remaining since 8 o'clock in the morning over the same address, which is 507 North Euclid Avenue. That's the Starbucks, 7EJE664 6LOO748. And that is the state's light source remaining over the building. And now, as I am leaving, as I proceed what is south on Euclid, the state's fake sun remains in alignment with me as I proceed in that direction. There is currently, right now, as I have already shown, no light source over the library building. Not even in that direction. The state's fake sun is over me at Starbucks, where I just captured on video, and I am referencing the security cameras inside of 507 North Euclid Avenue, what are terrorists and sex offenders and stalkers, while the state is creating its impossible light activity all over inside of that venue, just all over the walls, all over the couch, while they are under the state's fake sun, which is remaining over that address, and they are monitoring via communication devices on the venue of the internet while they are engaging in sexual violence with the government. That has also been captured today, flying over my head, flying over the venue in helicopter, patrolling an airplane, and moving around to the back of the parking lot and then back to the entrance, and now remaining, oh, that's what I just captured. It's over the entrance of the Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Again, it's 3:28 p.m. License plate 07513D3, JBS Tree Care, California 362923. Monitoring. That loud truck is a means of audible activity, squeaking brakes, everything you're hearing in concert with the fake sun, in concert with the state's directed and demonic light activity. 8BES275 is monitoring with it. All right, and while these vehicles are patrolling out in traffic, the state's just been creating ongoing light activity inside while they're monitoring what I'm doing on my phone. All right, license plate 5VRJ396, 8TQS027, 4V20929, 7WUH939, 6ZLA550, 97007A3. That's the JBS tree again. This is 8VSY242, 8RDV174. 6AGK003, a third party on a skateboard creating light activity under the state's fake sun and audible activity. 64901C2. I've shown you the skateboarders and the bikers with triple shadows around them. They're monitoring, and those are the same psychopaths, and the state uses underaged minions to monitor and engage in sexual violence. That's as perverted as it gets, all right? Minors engaging in an orgy that you did not invite them to. 8MPG 896, because that's exactly what it is. All right? It's 3:29 p.m. This is documentation of what is Starbucks, the brand, the company, all right? The actor engaging in federal stalking and is a sex offender and is a violent terrorist, a threat, okay, instead of an asset to the American society. They're monitoring an American citizen, and this citizen documented it. 7CCW 347. That's exactly what I was subject to inside of that venue. They are psychopaths, and those are employees of a company where demon possession is ruling inside of that building. 8PUZ 122, 7WEX 598, 7TKW 755, 7SKM 291, 7KUA 015. That's Amtrak, amplified all the way up here by 507 North Euclid. I'm by Work Boot Warehouse. I'm by Downtown Ontario Improvement Association, 425 Euclid Avenue, and impossible light activity across the top of that sign, all right, which is well above 10 feet tall. Impossible light activity while these minions cross path. That's P.O.C. 8JTG 937. 25286 Tom 1. 8PGT 342. 8WJC 428. 4MFH 318. I believe that's a 316, excuse me. This is license plate 28, the character of a heart, and ALE 36023R1. 6WPU 933, fake sun over Gloria's Cochinas right now. They're sitting at the traffic light at D Street in Euclid, engaged in federal stalking and terrorism and sexual violence. 8SLU 436, 7FZG 844. That's audible activity. Gloria's Cochina is a facilitating venue located at 401 Euclid Avenue. They're monitoring. License, let's see, 7HUY 418, 8LWP 757, 8KDZ 919, 8J12384. 71752P1, 6UAT 726, 8ETC 750. All right, 6UAT 726, stopping in relevant position, parked in the red. This is a large male, probably Samoan or something. He's a sex offender. He's monitoring. And he's on the cameras of the U.S. Bank. He's got a ponytail on top of his head. This is license plate 7FGG 496. It's 3:32 p.m. 5BPL 470. State's fake sun remaining in alignment with me as I'm walking south toward the library where there is no sun over that building right now. The state's fake sun will be over that building as I arrive at that building. Okay? License plate 7TCC 156. All right, third parties proceeding south on Euclid Avenue. That's why I'm documenting them. Ongoing documented light activity, just as I've shown in my videos, lines of light across the sidewalk in the buildings while they're driving past. They are indeed monitoring. 8VFF 799, 6EXE 992. Monitoring at Strum Brewing Company at 315 North Euclid Avenue. 6FRC 029. That's audible activity. That's the people. And that's going towards Starbucks. 7BCG 540. 8HKL 474. 8FKA 351. 8, I can't really see that one. 68923E2. You engage in the state's criminal pattern of conduct, such as FedEx right now using its hazard lights, as the state's fake sun is directly over my head at C Street now and Euclid Avenue. You remain engaged in that pattern of conduct that is continuous. It doesn't stop. 8TRY 123 or 723. That vehicle drives past and a ginormous line of light streaming across at the same time, which is impossible light activity, and that's terrorism by a sex offender in that SUV vehicle. All right? Driving toward the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library right now, 8FZG171 at the turn circle. Turning now what is south onto Lemon. License plate 7MGE186. And that vehicle will be seen on surveillance cameras. Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library has surveillance cameras. The Ontario Town Square has surveillance cameras. Wells Fargo has surveillance cameras. And that's where I'm at, and the state's fake sun is in direct alignment with me at what is C Street, no longer at over the building of 507 North Euclid Avenue, 8 RSC 989, 6VEW 615, 7YWR 854, I believe, 8 RIZ 939, 8 FTX 138, 7 PXA 334, 62601 K2, 6 TCC 441, 7 ZKV 215, 6 XDL 063, 8 KLM 948. I can't see that one. 8 NQW 215, 7 CJU 371, 8 XVX 127, 7 TLG 704, 7 XOH 722, 6 KBS 950, 7 GNS 095, 6 JM, I can't really see that one. Too far. Let me get this license. 01537 SAM 2, 8 LXS 950, 8 AXG 688, 7657 TH1, ANDYREY, excuse me, 6 VKU 514, 6 BO3061. All right, that's Omnitrans acting with sirens. Sounds like the same stalker AMR or the fire department, actually. Yeah, that's the fire, Ontario Fire. That's called amplification under the fake sun. That's a stalker and a kidnapper and a sex offender as well as a terrorist. The Ontario Fire Department. 8KVX130 is monitoring me to that audible activity while the fake sun is over my head, and that is the Ontario Fire Department sponsoring that violence and terrorism of an American citizen amongst the people. That is public corruption. Again, that's 8KVX130, engaging in sexual violence and terrorism with the Ontario Fire Department. 6SNU576, A63000, which looks like a fake license plate. This is a Latino male with a black t-shirt on. He's got a tattoo on his left forearm. He's putting a black stroller in his trunk right now. He's driving a black Impala. He was sitting in his car monitoring to the same sirens under the same fake sun that's over my head that is now approaching Ontario Over Family Community Library, where it was over 507 North Euclid all morning, and is now following me, remaining over my head as I'm traveling what is east on on C Street. Yeah, that is a black Impala, and he's getting in his vehicle, and he should be approaching the Wells Fargo cameras. 7RXW478. All right, so I just want to be clear where I am standing at the third-party facilitating venue of Starbucks as I stand outside of the entrance and I take a picture of the state's fake sun that is right over the address you can see at 507 North Euclid, as well as seeing the sign that says Starbucks, where also you saw the state's fake sun remaining in direct alignment with me as I am coming from 408 West G Street in the vehicle, and I proceed to walk what is from that vehicle at the intersection in between Vine and Fern, and I proceed to walk east on what is G Street, and then I walk south on Euclid Avenue. All right, and the state's fake sun is not over the museum, such that I was aiming my camera toward the museum at that time, where I was at the museum 24 hours prior. No, what you see is me aiming my camera straight ahead in front of me, because this is where the state's fake sun is, north of the museum. All right, not even in the direction of the museum. Okay, and so you have what is also the impossibility that I was ever able to capture the actual sun next to me as I am facing south on the side of the Ontario Over Family Community Library at the same time as I have already published. In addition to that, today as I exit that third-party facilitating venue of Starbucks located at 507 North Euclid Avenue, you see that I am facing I'm facing west as I'm taking that picture of the state's fake sun that has remained over that building since after 8 a.m. And again, I left at around 3:30, 3:25, between 325 or 330, excuse me. And you have what is my direction, which I'm facing west as I'm capturing the top of that building. That is remaining directly over. In addition, it's not just the fake sun, the light activity that's occurring inside, which is also impossible, even if that was the sun. That is both not the sun, and that is both impossible light to occur, even if it was the sun. Light is not bouncing off of the vehicles that are proceeding south on Euclid Avenue while they are next to the building driving past. That's the directed light. That is the terrorism by the people acting in concert with the state. That is aiming light inside of the venue. Being in the drive-through under the light source or under the actual sun is not going to result in light bouncing off of their vehicle. And I'm being sarcastic with the use of bounce. How does this light? It's just projecting off. It's bouncing off like a laser onto the walls inside of the Starbucks from the drive-through window, across the ceiling from the drive-through window. Okay, so you're looking at the light activity in addition to the presence of a fake sun. Let me get the stalker, 8GGK265. It's monitoring to the sound of Amtrak, all right, under the fake sun, which is right here over my head in front of 215 EC Street. 8HCS173, monitoring to that same audible activity created by the state. Understand they are both engaging in sexual violence. They're sex offenders as they are molesting with the state. That is touching with an artificially created light source for a criminal purpose of monitoring. They are engaging in stalking, and they are engaging in terrorism, okay? And this is group conduct, okay? So this is exceedingly violent and perverted and demented. And you're looking at what is, well, you're not looking because you're listening to my podcast, but you are witnessing what are psychopaths engaging in this conduct together as I am systematically breaking down their criminal activity. She now turns on her hazard lights. This is additional light activity. This is the demonic conduct as well. That's a demonic pattern. You have license plate. Let me get this one over here. It's 3:40 p.m. 77366D3. Let me read that again. 77366 David 3. License 6YVV605. Third parties on the cameras at the Wells Fargo ATMs that are along D Street, D as in dog. They're monitoring, and they're monitoring with the Ontario police, who are hiding in a blackened parking lot in relevant position. They are using the ATMs as form for creating light activity and loitering in relevant position. And I did capture video of the Ontario police vehicles, and I also captured video of a third-party group stalker who stops at the same time I start recording video, using their vehicle as light activity, looking like the stalking psychopath terrorist that I am revealing them as. That is the ominous conduct that the people as an entity engage in together. That light activity aimed in my direction is acting in concert with the Ontario police, and that is license plate 8XVU131. And the Ontario police vehicles parked in the blackened parking lot in relevant position.
again, regardless of what direction I would walk to Tracy Banks's apartment, which is a matter of public information. I'm being monitored, so it's known where I'm going. They're stalking in a dark parking lot in relevant position 1451828. Hello, and aiming light on me, license plate 1576655. Ontario Police Vehicle number 1014, and there's directed light on me. My shadow is appearing on this license plate, and I am at a distance from the car. That's directed light, and my shadow is beside. I got multiple shadows. It is currently 8:24 p.m. This is P.O.C, and that was the Ontario Police molesting with a light. He reaches out the window while they're sitting in the car in a black parking lot, stalking with that third party. It's P.O.C. It is currently 8:24 p.m. That's the demon possession that I'm talking about, and they're sitting in a black parking lot looking and acting like the stalkers that I am documenting them as. License plate 8HA, I can't really see that one. You're going to listen to the background, that horn honking, that's audible activity while the police are right here stalking in a black parking lot. Third party is at the intersection, directed light is all over these storefronts while this third party is using their vehicle to reverse. This is light activity in my path, just like the one I captured on video. What you'll see, he's stalking, putting light activity in my path. This is license plate 6WRD421. It is currently 8:25 p.m. All right, I did go ahead and capture a video so that you can see this third party who is a stalker and is lacking any form. But I'm showing you on video what he attempted to do in engage in form while he's surrounded by directed light, which was covering, light just covering all over the storefronts, while the third party that was reversing at the corner is creating light activity. And while the Ontario Police are creeping in a blackened parking lot in relevant position. As the state is always stalking by aircraft, as I've already established. And so this third party now hops out of his vehicle. And by the way, while I'm getting the video of the license plates of Ontario Police, and while this third party is in directed light, that's all over the storefronts, all right? And while the third parties are patrolling in traffic, they're creating ongoing light activity, my shadow is surrounding my body. Multiple shadows around my body, okay? While I'm getting the license plate. And then the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario Police officer, he puts a bright light on me as I am getting the license plate, and I'm not approaching closely. This is the audible activity that they were monitoring with, so I'm going to get these license plates, 6U55933, 8JMA678, and this is amplified when I was on the opposite side in the parking lot. They're monitoring with the police in relevant position. 7NOE248. Euclid Avenue is monitoring, they're patrolling, and the state is amplifying the sound of that traffic. License 8CCV540. And the specific one using his horn, and understand the state can create artificial sound of a horn while their cars are just present. Right? That's the type of weirdo conduct that they engage in together. But this one, his blinking lights are going off as you're hearing the horn, which was amplified when I was on the opposite side of the parking lot as I started taking video of the police department, okay? This one right here, 8JMA678. That's a sex offender. He's engaged in terrorism. He's engaged in criminal facilitation. He's acting in concert with the people. I just want to be clear, but that's what you're analyzing. That's what he's doing. All right? That's going to be prosecution. for that license plate. It is 8:29 p.m. and those group stalkers are at ARCO, the ARCO that's located at East Street and Euclid Avenue. This heavy-set Latino male, he's wearing shorts that are too tight and too short. He's wearing a hat, and he's got a pot belly and a Quicksilver t-shirt on, 8ETM416. Ontario Police approaching now, monitoring me under directed light, and monitoring with the people of the state at the ARCO. This is an African-American male driving vehicle number 1014. He's the one that put light on me as I was reading the license plate while they were stalking in a blackened parking lot, monitoring with the people. All right, and this is what I mean by the Ontario Police stalking conspicuously and inconspicuously. These are cockroaches. All right, they hide in the back streets and the people maintain activity all around while the state is keeping directed light, while the state is stalking by plane and helicopter. That video that I just showed, and I have other videos I've already documented, the state, Ontario Police hiding around in dark park garages in relevant position to me, hiding on the back streets around in relevant position to me, and right now that was a parking lot. Again, 1576655, that's African American male. That's P.O.C. My shadow surrounding my body while I'm getting that license plate, directed light all over the storefronts. While they are hiding in that parking lot, group stalkers like this psychopath 8JMA678 sounding a horn which is amplified on the opposite side of that parking lot. Stalkers stopping in the middle of the road to aim their headlights in my direction while I'm documenting that P.O.C. This is demonic activity. All right, it's not just criminal, it's demon possession. It's demon possession. That's the pattern of conduct. So I'm gonna make sure I got all of these license plates. All right, ongoing honking used as a means of stalking with activity. All right, as I'm touching my phone, it starts and stops. Okay? These are literally the demented psychopaths of the people of the state of California. And I'm showing you how you can prosecute psychopaths that suffer from demon possession. I'll show you how you can do that. Terrorism. Oh, and this one, monitoring with a minor child. Let me get this license plate again. Monitoring with minors. She's a sex offender. She's engaged in terrorism with minor children. 7HHS147. P.O.C. 8JMA678 proceeding north on Euclid Avenue. 8PLZ207. Monitoring to the motorcycles on the opposite side. Cowards, all right? Group stalker in front of Papa John's doing the same thing that the other group stalker was doing, aiming headlights in my position while the state is amplifying activity and aiming directed light all over the place. Ontario Police, like a cockroach, going from the black parking lot to the backside, now going to the parking lot adjacent from me at the Chevron, vehicle number 1829, a demon-possessed stalker. Monitoring to that stalking conduct using the horn honking. Directed light is all over the road while these third parties are patrolling. That's Ontario Police. That's demon possession of the entire agency, all right? They're going to federal prison for terrorism and being a sex offender and engaging in repeated acts of kidnapping, all right? It's 8:33 p.m. and he'll be seen on the cameras of the Chevron property driving through. All he's doing is crossing path, and he's been loitering in relevant position, monitoring with these demons that are on the property of ARCO at East Street and East Street and Euclid. Monitoring to that amplified sound of motorcycles, that's audible activity. Directed light is always molesting, always surrounding. I have multiple shadows right now, okay? He was monitoring. This is demon possession you're listening to. That's P.O.C. It's 8:33 p.m. And this is leaving third-party facilitating venue, Ontario Overlook Family Community Library. Ontario Police, like the stalkers that I have already established, they are hiding in dark parking lots, stalking, ready for any route that I would take to get to Tracy Banks' house. They are monitoring and exactly where I'm going. 8SJC561, 8PLZ207. I already read that one. I'm reading it again. It's at the Chevron. 7JVN758, 4YTC539. They're on the properties of the Chevron. It's 8:34 p.m. plates, directed light all over the brick walls, all over the walls while he's driving. 7MGY722, monitoring. It's like disco lights outside, all right? It's dark outside. I'm at the intersection of, what is this? F Street, F as in Frank. Yeah, this morning where the fake sun was right over me. Where the fake sun was over me, moving south down Euclid Avenue to keep in alignment with me. This is where I'm at. I'm at Frank, F as in Frank, and Euclid Avenue. And this group stalker, he's maintaining presence, and it's a disco light effect as he is approaching me and stalking via stop sign, okay? Stalking via stop light. You're in relevant position, and the ongoing environment is being maintained. You're monitoring with the state. You are intentionally present, and you're a sex offender and a terrorist in concert with that entity. That's the absence of coincidence. That license plate at 8:35 p.m. 1302430. License plate of a third party, just one of the group that are currently at third party facilitating venues, 7-Eleven, located at 636 North Vine Avenue. They're on surveillance cameras at that venue, showing proof of presence, stalking in concert with the state that is covering the street and the sidewalk and this property, and aiming directed light like laser, just light coming out of nowhere, not even using the implausible form of a car driving by. Not that that would be an explanation, but I'm just letting you know it literally just like just a shot of light hitting the rocks in front of Woodside Senior Apartments, and they're all in relevant position monitoring with the state. And there you go, there's a helicopter. The same confirmation you got at Starbucks this morning as well. It's 8:48 p.m. All right, and so what I just captured in video, this is a sample of what the people are doing all night long, what I've already documented them doing, and what they're doing all night long while I'm in the car, and they're monitoring, knowing exactly every move that I make as I make it, stalking via driving by with simultaneity. All right, that's demonic activity. All right, that simultaneity of conduct, doing anything that they use anything, whatever it is that they have at their disposal to stalk with activity, making sure they're present with simultaneity to my conduct. And this is what they're doing. You saw the helicopter, you see the directed light, you see the documentation establishing that this is already the case everywhere that I'm going, and this is the ongoing while I'm in the vehicle, okay? And this is what they're doing. This is what the people are doing. It's called terrorism. Acting in concert with the state. That's flying again right now over a helicopter while Tracy Banks is creating light activity. Directed light across the house next to her as she is in front. That's supposed to be the form for that light, which is not form. The shadow of the gate is moving backwards onto the house that's adjacent to, and the shadow of her car is above her car. That's directed light. Helicopter flying over me. License plate 4WON432. Tracy Banks. Helicopter over my head. That's P.O.C. But it's not just her. Understand what site Senior Apartments is monitoring. 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue is monitoring. And again, when you're monitoring with communication devices, this is speaking to everybody in their houses. Everybody, well, the only business right here is 7-Eleven. But there are those, CVS, that whole plaza over there, they're monitoring. Okay? The state just flew over my head right now in a helicopter. You're talking about, hold on one second. All right, certainly no question as to what Ontario Police were doing in that dark parking lot as I captured that documentation. Like I said, the pattern of conduct is ongoing, and the flip side of that is that documentation is ongoing. And this is exactly what the Ontario Police Department were doing, stalking, and showing you how much of a creepy stalker the Ontario Police Department is. And you are speaking about stalking that is of group activity, demons that are stalking, all right? And so this is why you were referring to the Ontario Police Department as you would refer to an individual, because the Ontario Police Department is engaging in stalking as a group, as an agency representing the state. And you just saw the Ontario Police Department demonstrating, first of all, demon possession, all right, through their engagement in the criminal elements of monitoring, which is a satanic system. Engaging in those criminal elements is the outward manifestation, outward demonstration of demon possession, okay? The group conduct is letting you know that it's demon possession, and this system relies on group conduct. It's not based on any one individual. And in addition to that, you are looking at the creepy stalker hiding around on back streets like the cockroaches that I'm telling you that they are. That's exactly what you just saw on video. Hiding in a black parking lot, hiding behind the faces of the people of the state who are unintelligent in their tactics as well. All right, that's P.O.C. and it's currently 8:55 p.m. And yes, I did just catch the helicopter flying over me twice. And as I also captured the Ontario Police Department being creepy stalkers that they are. That's P.O.C. Okay. Is it open? Is it open? You're funny. The dog is audible activity. Third party patrolling in the street, making a U-turn, stalking in the middle of the street, waiting for me to approach. What? And that's the helicopter flying over again. Light activity using the turn signal. Helicopter flying over. Directed light on the gate where the vehicle isn't even near the gate. Okay. What? I'm documenting. I'm not being loud. Why don't you worry about the helicopter flying over me while you ain't concerned about my safety? Girl, bye. The helicopter is louder than me. Open the door. Open the door. So this is Tracy Banks that's monitoring, talking about be quiet. You can't even hear while the helicopter is over my head again. She talking about be quiet. That's audible activity. Okay, anything else? I don't need you to help me get in the car. I know where I'm at. Is there anything else? Call the police. You call the police. That's your pattern of conduct. You gonna call the police again? Is that what you said? Okay, got it. That's Tracy Banks. She's a stalker anyway. She's not helping. Bye. Quiet. No, I'm not going to be quiet. I'm documenting you're a criminal and you're a weirdo. Acting like you're over here monitoring with the helicopter, telling me to be quiet. Okay, the quintessence of a psychopath. Telling me to find somewhere else to sleep. Okay, she was participating in a fictitious case, hoping that I was going to be prosecuted as some insane person. That's why she was there in court, not supporting me then and not supporting me now. She's monitoring while she's talking about I can sleep in my car. Yes, bye. Tracy Banks is a psychopath. She is not concerned about my safety at all. Okay, she takes me to a restaurant to get food and she's monitoring the entire time, monitoring with the police. Okay, monitoring by helicopters over the vehicle. All right, that is an exceedingly evil individual. Okay, do not be surprised. Satan comes bearing gifts in his hands. So you come, go to the store and buy me something, and you're engaging in monitoring conduct. That's an ongoing threat to my life, hoping that I get kidnapped again by the police, because that's the reality of her issue. All right, she is plagued with demon possession as well, and that's the reality of Tracy Banks. That's why I do not kiss her butt. I'm not going to. Excuse my French. I'm being frank right now because I have very little patience for such a hypocrite. How do you fathom such level of wickedness? Someone monitoring their own offspring, if you will, your own daughter. You're talking about that which is of Satan. That's why. Okay? And she is going to federal prison. Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. She has engaged in the most potent type of threat that you can wage as a third party insider, and engaging in a perpetual threat, acting in concert with absolute strangers to engage in sexually violent conduct, sexually violent monitoring and terrorism against her own daughter. And this is for years. Okay, that's what Tracy Banks has been engaged in. And right now, as I'm getting in her car, the state is flying over my head by helicopter, and she's talking about, shh, be quiet. I don't want the neighbors to call the police. They're all monitoring together. Okay, she is a psychopath, all still operating in an alternate universe where she's acting like, first of all, the documentation doesn't exist. She's hoping that I get kidnapped. And she has no hope. Okay, I'm going to prosecute her. She's going to federal prison. I have no pity for Satan, and this is a psychopath. That's not my mother. Okay, that's not my mother. That is Satan operating over her. She has demented issues, and she belongs in a straitjacket, and that's exactly where I'm going to put her. And I will bear no mercy for her. And I certainly will not for anybody else whose name I don't even know. Okay, that's the reality. It's 9 p.m. and that's P.O.C. All right, ongoing helicopter activity flying in a circle over 630 North Fern Avenue. This is the house that I'm sitting in front of. And so the state is flying in a circle in this helicopter. And so I put my camera on it, and then the helicopter flies off. After it was, before I put my camera on it, just flying in a circle, like the demon-possessed psychopath that it is. The fact that it's up here flying over me and every other place, including Starbucks this morning at 507 North Euclid Avenue, as I am documenting under the state's fake sun. All right, it doesn't get any clearer than that. Like I said, the state is stalking up here now at North Fern, and doing so, this is, and what I explained in my video, there is not a reasonable question whatsoever. It is abundantly clear, and actually, this is what the state knows as well. And I guess the answer for the government that has been exposed as not just a criminal, but a creepy stalker, sex offending, kidnapping terrorist that suffers from demon possession. And that is the precise description. While the state is flying in a circle, this demon possessed state actor is flying in a circle above me in front of 630 North Fern where I'm sitting. That's what they were doing. And while he's flying, while he or she, that's the state actor, is flying in a circle, understand that's demon possession. That's demonic. It's monitoring conduct. They're monitoring, they're stalking, but that's demonic conduct. Flying in a circle above me, and then on the sidewalk right here next to me, ongoing light appearing on the asphalt beside the car, okay? Just flashing light, colored light appearing right here. While this, understand both of that's engagement in the elements, and it's entirely demonic. This is what the people do on a constant basis together. systematically. And this is what the state is doing with its directed light and fake sun, constantly, systematically. This is what the state was doing right now with the helicopter and creating light activity next to me. So I put my camera on that, and like I said, you're connecting a line, you're drawing the line. It is all connected. None of it is separate. And it's not a question, like I said, what those Ontario police officers were doing, the same thing that Jay Burnett was doing last night at the museum, the same thing that they were doing on June 18th, 2021, when they kidnapped me, they being the Ontario Police Department, doing the exact same thing right now, flying over me, and they were flying over me on June 18th, okay? And they were stalking as well, okay? There is no question about what the Ontario police are engaged in and were engaged in, and what they are doing pursuant to that criminal activity that they're engaged in, which is repeated kidnapping, okay? So I want to be clear, those are creepy stalkers that were hiding in a black parking lot that I took a picture of. I'm sorry, I took video of that, and you've got the people of the state of California surrounding stalking, creating light and noise that the state is amplifying, while you've got a disco light effect all around, just aiming light all over the storefronts, just like the state did right now, aiming light all over the sidewalk. This is entirely demonic conduct by a government and the people of the state of California. Tracy Banks is directly engaged in that, and so I am not just speaking idly. I am talking about judgment for this criminal conduct, which shall come to a stop, all right? It shall come to a cessation. And she is going to federal prison. She wages the most potent threat, and that is absolutely unlawful, and no third party shall engage in that sort of criminal activity and get away with it because you are a family member. She has absolutely no form, and the reality is that she does not actually, this isn't necessarily, I don't care if you like me or not, but the reality is Tracy Banks doesn't even like her daughter. She does not like me. And when she gets in her true form, she speaks her mind, which is that she does not want me to help. She is not interested in helping. She is hopeful that I get kidnapped. But understand, me getting kidnapped is more documentation against the state every time they engage in it. And it's not a question what they are engaging in as they engage in these kidnappings. You don't have the law on your side. You are monitoring. But what I want to see, you're talking about the entity that is trying, is hopeful, is wishful. But there is no hope. It's ongoing documentation of criminal activity, and I'm going to prosecute them. I'm going to prosecute Tracy Banks for every criminal act that the state has engaged in. She has been the number one cheerleader, the facilitator. Understand, she is very much the enabler of the very government. Those who are closest to you are the greatest threat, all right? That's why she's going to federal prison, besides the fact that she is a psychopath. She is entirely dangerous in that regard as well. Okay, she is a closeted psychopath. She is highly unstable. While she has been seeking to engage in artificially engineer a paper trail, trying to establish that I have mental issues, and I do not. My documentation establishes that she is indeed a stalker, and that the state of California is a stalker that is monitoring. She's going to federal prison, in so much as these police officers that are engaging in documented acts of kidnapping. She's going to federal prison the same way that they are, and that's the reality. I am going to prosecute them. This is already the process of it. This is the process of prosecution that I'm engaging in right now. I'm going to prosecute them thoroughly and fully, and she is going to federal prison. And you see more and more through my documentation why that creature belongs in federal prison. Okay? It is 9:19 p.m. and the state is flying over me while I'm sitting in her car. Impossible light activity while I'm sitting in her car. Helicopter flying over my head while she's walking with me to her car while I'm standing outside of her apartment. Kidnapped more than one occasion outside and at her apartment while flying over me while I'm inside of her vehicle. State's fake sun in the windshield molesting my person while I'm in her car. Okay, while I am in my home sharing a home with her, subject to this system for years unbeknownst to me. She is a psychopath. She is as dangerous as it gets as far as the third party goes. Okay, that is amplified plane activity. That is the same as a helicopter activity. The Ontario Police Department are creeping on back streets, monitoring to that. The people of the state of California are in their homes and in the 7-Eleven in relevant position, in those places of business of the CVS Rite Aid Plaza, monitoring to that. The state is creating directed light all over the place. It's 9:20 p.m. as they are listening to me speak of that consequence that they are not going to get out of. The more and more they engage in criminal activity, every criminal act that they are engaging in is intensifying that, because they're going to federal prison. It's a matter of how long. I am of the position that they shall not get out. You intend to kidnap and engage in these criminal acts using the justice system to indefinitely confine, and it is my argument, and I am arguing on behalf of the ordinary target individual as well, and also considering the broad system in effect and the threat that that is waging. It is unlawful under existing law and under that which shall be enforced indefinitely. Okay, going to federal prison for a prolonged period. Okay, and I mean a prolonged period because that is exactly the criminal intent when you are looking at the totality of the crime waged and the instruments used in order to do so, including instruments such as Tracy Banks, license plate 4WON 432, who is engaging in threatening my life right now. All right, a light activity flashing on the vehicle behind me, coming from out of nowhere, just like when I was standing next to the gate of 408 West G Street and light shooting like a laser just coming out of the atmosphere while I started documenting third parties of 636 North Vine, which is the 7-Eleven. That's exactly what's happening right now. That's exactly what was occurring while I captured that video. The state was flying in a circle over my head while I'm sitting inside of this car. All right, in front of 630 North Fern. Understand that that is directly telling on the residents of 630 North Fern, in addition to everybody else. But that's what I'm saying. This is how the system literally is flipped on its head. Okay, but in addition to that, you're talking about the prosecution of the entity, and Tracy Banks is very much a part of the entity, engaging in an ongoing threat to my life, hopeful of my demise for years. And it is no longer secret, and I am openly documenting her as she is openly monitoring me. Okay, and that it's 9:22 p.m. ongoing terrorism while I'm sitting in this vehicle of license plate 4WON 432, documenting the state acting via the Ontario Police Department stalking in the dark. All right, stalking while I'm walking to this venue, the state stalking by plane and helicopter while I'm here, doing it visibly and audibly because they're always stalking. All right, and so and especially coming out and surfacing as I document the entity, the third parties. All right, that is also speaking to the inevitable connection, let alone the fact that I've already established the P.O.C, but the fact that the state engages in this flying over, it is literally confirming every time I say sex offender, terrorist, stalker, and then the helicopter comes out of nowhere. You're talking about a pattern. That's the P.O.C. Okay, it's 9:22 p.m.
That's a helicopter flying over me again. It's 9:32 p.m. And again, I am in front of 630 North Fern Avenue, inside of Tracy Banks' vehicle at 9:32 p.m. and the state is flying over me here. Okay? P.O.C.